Chapter 1378. In a small house in the old city, Ning Tianxin sat on the sofa with a helpless expression on her face. She had been looking for a hospital for the surgery these days, but the Mo family seemed to have done something. She found a few hospitals, but they all rejected her with the reason that her body wasn't suitable for the surgery, or they had to wait for at least half a month. Just when she was about to think of other ways, Mo Ling Tian's parents came to her door. Ning Tianxin opened the door and was surprised to see a middle-aged couple with an extraordinary aura. You must be Tianxin. We are Ling Tian's parents. I'm really sorry to come here so suddenly. Can we talk to you for a bit? As Kong Shui spoke, she sized up the girl in front of her. She saw that the girl was dressed in plain home clothes, without any makeup. She was slim and graceful like a lotus flower that had just emerged from the water. Kong Shui immediately had a favorable impression of her. Her sister was right. This girl was indeed different from the other girls. Of course, please come in. Ning Tianxin couldn't lock the two elders outside, so she had to invite them in. Suppressing the uneasiness in her heart, Ning Tianxin poured a cup of tea for them. You don't live with your family? Mo Jianzhong looked around the house and asked casually. I moved out after I went to university. Are you still in school? I'm in graduate school. Mo Jianzhong nodded in satisfaction. She was still a student. No wonder she looked so innocent. Ms. Ning, can I call you Tianxin? Kong Shuhui's tone was unusually gentle. Ning Tianxin nodded. Mrs. Mo, please. Tianxin, I'm sure you're clear about the reason why we're here today. Now that you're carrying the flesh and blood of our Mo family, I'll definitely make Ling Tian take responsibility. So you don't have to worry at all. Don't be impulsive. Don't hurt this child. We will definitely seek justice for you. Kong Shui purposely emphasized the words, don't hurt the child, obviously knowing that Ning Tianxin was looking for a hospital for the surgery. Ning Tianxin's expression was a bit forced. She thought about her words and said, Mr. Mo, Mrs. Mo, Ling Tian and I have already discussed how to solve this. So, the result of your discussion is to abort the child? Is human life such a joke in your eyes? This is simply ridiculous. Mo Jianzhong couldn't help but say angrily. Kong Shui immediately glared at her husband. Isn't it all your son's fault? Why are you being so fierce to the heavens? What if he's scared? Mo Jianzhong's voice suddenly dropped a few pitches. I'm not fierce. I'm angering that stinking brat. Kong Shui patted Ning Tianxin's hand lightly. See? Annie and your Uncle Mo are on your side. You don't have to fear anything. At night, in a private room of the Eaton Bar in the capital, Mo Lingtian gathered a group of scoundrels and stayed in the nightclub for 3 days and 3 nights in a row. He was in a drunken state. Young Master Mo, what's going on? Someone who didn't know the truth asked the person beside him. Immediately, someone in the know replied with a gossipy expression. You still don't know? Recently, young Master Mo was being forced into marriage. Everyone in the circle is talking about it. Forced marriage? Wasn't that normal? Isn't young Master Mo being forced to get married by his family? The person who spoke was puzzled. The insider moved closer to the man with an explosive expression. It's different this time. This time, someone is going to die. Chapter 1379. That person's face was filled with shock. Damn, it can't be. No wonder young Master Mo is so miserable this time. Young Master Mo's parents are going crazy thinking about their grandson. Young Master Mo will go crazy this time. Are they going to get married because of their son? Sigh. Our infatuated man finally waited for his goddess to come back. His biggest rival Lu Tingxiao is taken. It's the right time, the right place, and the right people. But he actually made such a scene. Which woman? She's so smart. Even young Master Mo fell for it. I'm not sure about that. Young Master Mo, stop drinking. Seeing that Mo Lingtian drank too much tonight, the others were afraid that something would happen to him, so they all went to persuade him. However, no one could persuade him. Mo Lingtian drank like he was drinking water. He simply looked like he wanted to drink himself to death. He kept muttering, Xiao, all right, whoever started the trouble should end it. I think we should call Miss Guan over. Otherwise, if we let him drink like this, I'm afraid something will really happen. The few of them gathered together and discussed for a while. Then, one of them called Guan Ziao. After about an hour, Guan Ziao finally came. The others tactfully walked out, leaving the space for the two of them. Why did you drink so much? Guan Ziao frowned and took the wine glass from the man's hand. After seeing clearly who the person in front of him was, Mo Lingtian immediately hugged her tightly. His face was full of despair. Ziao, Ziao, you know, right? I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean it. It was an accident. I was drunk and mistook her for you. I don't like that woman at all, you know. I only have you in my heart. I like you. I've liked you since the first time I saw you when I was 6 years old. I've liked you for more than 20 years. I've been waiting for you to come back. No one can replace me. Other than you, I won't like anyone else. Guan Ziao's eyes flashed when she saw the man's deep emotions. She was very clear about Mo Lingtian's feelings for her since a long time ago. It was impossible to say that she wasn't moved at all. Unfortunately, in her eyes, the only one who was worthy of her was Lu Tingxiao. How could she be willing to lose to that lowly woman as a loser and settle for the next best thing? Mo Lingtian, her pride would never allow it. How did your family know about that woman's pregnancy? Did that woman say that? Guan Ziao frowned. Although she had never thought of being with Mo Lingtian, she still felt a little uncomfortable when she heard such news. Mo Lingtian's face turned pale. The doctor she met when she went to the hospital for a checkup happened to be my aunt. At that time, my aunt learned that the child was mine from the conversation between her and her cousin. And then she told my parents, such a coincidence? Guan Ziao muttered. Mo Lingtian's mind was in a mess. He held Guan Ziao's hand and said, "These are not important. In any case except for you, I will not marry anyone." Guan Ziao slowly retracted her hand. Ling Tian, I'm sorry, but it's impossible between us. I really don't want to lose you as a friend. Didn't we agree to be friends for life? It's really difficult for me to see you like this. Chapter 1380. Is it because of this? Mo Lingtian asked with a trembling voice. Guan Ziao frowned. Lingtian, I believe you're not the kind of person who messes around outside. Maybe you were set up by that woman, but it's already happened. Mo Lingtian said agitatedly. It was an accident, and the child would never be left behind. Lu Tingxiao, you can accept the same thing. Why can't I? Guan Ziao's expression changed. Even if it didn't happen, it's still impossible for us. Then she turned and left. Mo Lingtian hurried to catch up. Ziao, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. He had just taken a few steps when two people stopped him. Young master, old master wants you to go back. Get out. Get out of my way. Mo Lingtian's face was full of anger. Young master, please don't make things difficult for us. I told you to get out. Did you hear me, young master, please? They looked at each other and forced him into the car. Mo Lingtian drank too much and couldn't get away from them. He could only watch Guan Ziao's figure disappear into the night. It was late at night, but the Mo family's house was still brightly lit. After being brought home, Mo Lingtian saw his parents in the living room. Not only that, but there was a girl sitting opposite Mo Jianzhong and Kong Shui. It was Ning Tianxin. Look at yourself. Mo Jianzhong's face was filled with anger when he saw Mo Lingtian's drunken appearance. Mo Lingtian stared at Ning Tianxin on the sofa as if he was staring at something terrible. Why are you here? The fear, disgust, and even suspicion in his eyes were like poison needles. Ning Tianxin's face turned pale. She had already called Mo Lingtian many times and sent him countless text messages, but Mo Lingtian had not picked up or returned any of them. Mr. and Mrs. Mo suddenly came to her and persuaded her to leave her child behind. She couldn't say a lot of things because of her awkward identity, and she couldn't contact Mo Lingtian either. She could only come back with her parents and wait for Mo Lingtian to come back so they could talk things over. She didn't expect. Mo Jianzhong said angrily, "What kind of attitude is this? Your mom and I went to invite Miss Ning here." Kong Shui said softly, "I called Tianxin over because I wanted us to sit down and discuss how to resolve this. Ling Tian, escaping won't solve the problem. Mo Ling Tian laughed in a low voice. Ah, solve? What solve? Your so-called solution. Isn't it for me to marry her? Is it wrong for us to let you marry her? To do such a thing, shouldn't you take responsibility? How'd I give birth to a thing like you? Mo Jianzhong flew into a rage. Ling Tian, the child in Tian Xian's stomach, is your own flesh and blood. Are you really going to be so heartless? Kong Shui also had a sad expression on her face. Mo Ling Tian's face was full of malice. In your eyes, I'm just a tool to carry on the family line. Have you ever thought about my feelings? Not even once. Have you ever considered who I truly love? Beast! Mo Jianzhong slammed the table hard. He was so angry that he almost fainted. You've caused trouble for that woman for so many years and done so many ridiculous things. Did I really force you to marry someone else? Your feelings, your love. Have you ever thought about what kind of price a good girl would have to pay for your mistakes? Are you still a man for saying such things? Chapter 1381. Ah, what man? When Xiao told me it was impossible, I was already not a human. Mo Ling Tian laughed somewhat crazily. After he finished speaking, his cold gaze swept across the three people one by one. You wanted to marry her, right? Fine. I'll do as you wish. I'll marry whoever you want me to marry, as long as it's not Xiao. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter to me. After Mo Ling Tian finished speaking, he staggered and fell to the ground. Kong Shui was shocked. Ah, Ling Tian. The living room was in a mess until the servants helped Mo Ling Tian into the bedroom upstairs. After a while, in the living room downstairs, Kong Shui looked at Ning Tianxin, who was sitting on the sofa apologetically. Tianxin, I'm so sorry to have made you suffer. This stinking brat is just talking nonsense after drinking too much. Don't take it to heart. Mo Jianzhong said with a dark face. Tianxin, don't think too much. He has to get married, even if he doesn't want to. Go back and get ready. Tomorrow, I'll bring this brat to your family to propose marriage. Ning Tianxin looked at the two old people's concerned faces. Her eyes were slightly warm. Thank you, Mr. Mo. Mrs. Mo. Kong Shui patted her hand. Good girl. I know that you like our Ling Tian. Don't worry, that brat just can't change his mind for the time being. After he gets married and gives birth to a child, he will definitely be able to understand who is truly good to him. Ning Tianxin's tears fell. She forced herself to calm down and nodded. Okay. Kong Shui and Mo Jianzhong saw that Ning Tianxin's emotions had calmed down and she didn't mention the abortion anymore. They finally calmed down. Tianxin, it's too late now. Why don't you stay here for the night? Kong Shui said. Thank you, Mrs. Mo, but I'd better go back. I still have to tell my family. Kong Shui nodded in agreement. Oh, that's right. That's necessary. I'll ask the driver to send you back. Can I go up and see Ling Tian? Ning Tianxin asked. Silly girl, of course you can. Go now. Upstairs, Mo Ling Tian's bedroom. The door creaked open. Ning Tianxin walked to the man's bed and sat down. She stared at the man's face quietly. Even in his dreams, the man's face was still filled with despair and pain, and he was still muttering about his love. In a daze, Mo Ling Tian opened his eyes and seemed to see the person sitting on the edge of the bed. His face was full of mockery. Ning Tianxin, I will marry you. Are you satisfied now? Ning Tianxin closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and smiled. I'm satisfied, at least in this life. You said you wanted to marry me, even if the words marry her made her heart ache. As soon as Mo Ling Tian finished speaking, he drowsily fell asleep again. He muttered, Xiao, Xiao, don't go. What should I do? I'm already not worthy of you. How can I love you like this? Good night. Ning Tianxin bent down, kissed the man's eyebrows, got up, and left. That good night seemed to have a soothing magic. Mo Ling Tian's pained brows gradually relaxed, and he gradually fell into a deep sleep. Mo Jianzhong sent Ning Tianxin to Ning Yaobang's place. After arriving, Ning Tianxin didn't go in. Instead, she took a taxi and went in another direction. In the car, Ning Tianxin's fingers trembled as she took out a wrinkled advertisement from her bag. She couldn't go to the big hospital because of the Mo family. Now, this was her only choice. Chapter 1382. The taxi drove for half an hour and stopped at a secluded alley in the suburbs of the north of the city. You can't go in. You have to walk for a while. The driver peeked at Ning Tianxin from the rearview mirror with a strange expression. She looked like a pure and innocent college student. He didn't expect that she would come to this private clinic alone in the middle of the night. Girls who came to this kind of place were almost all aborted. Okay, thank you. Ning Tianxin calmed down, paid the driver, and got out of the taxi. In front of her was a dark alley. There was a shiny sign on the building at the end of the alley. The sign said Ontai Hospital. Although it was called a hospital, it was just a few rooms. At best, it could only be called a clinic. Ning Tianxin subconsciously pressed her belly. Her steps were as heavy as lead. She didn't know how long it took before she walked forward step by step. The dark alley was like a giant beast, swallowing the girl's figure bit by bit. Hello. The nurse at the front desk was eating sunflower seeds and watching TV on her phone. She saw someone coming in from the corner of her eyes. She said without looking up, "Abortion? Yes. Do you want to do it now or now? Now. Go next door to pay the fee. You can do the surgery after you pay. How long will it take to finish? It depends. Let's do a checkup first. It usually takes a few minutes or half an hour at most. Don't worry, it will be quick. Our doctors do this kind of surgery every day. They are all very experienced." Okay, after paying the fee, they did a symbolic checkup. In the operating room, an older doctor said while preparing the surgical tools, "Okay, go wait outside. The surgery will start in 10 minutes. Ning Tianxin nodded blankly and sat down on the bench with the paint peeling off. In order to abort this child, she almost went to all the hospitals she could find these days. But now, there was no extra inquiry, no warning, and no waiting. As long as she paid, she could do the surgery. It was so fast that she couldn't react. She could only respond mechanically. 10 minutes later, the child who shouldn't have come, the child who caused his father so much pain, the child who caused all this chaos, was finally going to leave this world. Ning Tianxin lowered her head. Her hair covered her gentle eyes. In her palm, which was so fair that it was almost transparent, was a B-scan ultrasound photo. In the photo, the fetus had already begun to take on a human form. It had small hands and feet, and it was curled up there obediently, so cute, plop. Her tears dyed the photo. The girl, who had been sitting there in a daze and motionless, was now tightly clutching the photo to her chest. She was crying silently, and her body was trembling so violently that it was almost spasming. "Baby, sorry, I'm sorry. Mom can't keep you, sorry. Mommy loves you." She had never told anyone how much she missed this child, even though his arrival was so unexpected, even though he had caused her so much pain. She clearly remembered how her heart had softened when she had seen him in the machine for the first time. But she knew, just like the hopeless hope she had for Mo Lingtian, this child never belonged to her. Mo Lingtian, this is the last thing I can do for you. Chapter 1383. It was late at night in the palace. Ningxi had been in a deep sleep ever since she returned from Sea City because of the mental pressure she had been under over the past few days. She was suddenly awakened by a call from an unknown number in the middle of the night. To avoid waking up the little bun in bed, she answered the phone. "Hello, who's this?" "This is Ontai Hospital. Do you know Miss Ning Tianxin?" "Hospital?" Ningxi's heart missed a beat. "Ning Tianxin? She's my cousin. What happened?" "She had an abortion in our hospital. There was an accident during the operation, and she's bleeding now. We can't handle it with our medical facilities. She needs to be transferred to another hospital. Tell her family to come here right now. Otherwise, we won't be responsible if she dies here." The person on the other end of the phone gave Ningxi an address and hung up the phone. Ningxi froze, feeling as if she had fallen into an ice cellar. "What's wrong?" Lu Tingxiao's worried voice came from behind. Ningxi suddenly came back to herself. Her fingers holding the phone trembled violently. "Lu Tingxiao, something happened to my cousin. I have to go to the hospital right now." "Which hospital?" "It's called Ontai Hospital. It's on Zhongshan Road in the north of the city. After saying that, Ningxi rushed out regardless of anything else. She was wearing pajamas and slippers. She found that her car hadn't arrived. She was so anxious that she wanted to go back to Lu Tingxiao. Just then, a white Bugatti Veyron stopped beside her. Lu Tingxiao rolled down the window. "Get in." Ningxi opened the door of the passenger seat and sat down. There was a pair of shoes and a white mask in the car. "Change your shoes and put on the mask," Lu Tingxiao said. Then the white sports car disappeared into the night like a flash of lightning. 20 minutes later, the car stopped at a remote alley. Ningxi pushed the door open and ran towards the hospital. The moment she saw the so-called hospital, Ningxi's heart fell to the bottom. How was this a hospital? This was simply an illegal clinic. Why was Sister Tianxin having an operation here? They had clearly promised to ask her to go with them during the surgery. Did the hospital make a mistake? Ningxi rushed into the hospital with a glimmer of hope. "Where is Ning Tianxin?" The nurse at the door looked pale. "Go forward, the operating room." "What took you so long?" "He couldn't take it anymore. If he died here, wouldn't that ruin our reputation? Hurry up and get him out of here." Ningxi was furious, but she didn't have time to argue with him. She quickly rushed into the operating room, followed by Lu Tingxiao. As soon as she pushed open the door, Ningxi's eyes were stung by a patch of blood red. Seeing that the girl lying on the operating room with a pale face was really Ning Tianxin, Ningxi's mind went blank, and the last hope in her heart disappeared. The sky was getting brighter, but Ningxi's heart was getting heavier and heavier. Even after Ning Tianxin was transferred to Run AI Hospital, she still couldn't believe that the girl being saved in the operating room was Ning Tianxin. "Chief Lu, the patient's condition isn't very good. I'm afraid you have to prepare for the worst," the doctor said in a heavy tone, then quickly returned to the operating room. A few days ago, he was still perfectly fine, but now his life could be in danger at any time. Huh. Or perhaps you don't even care what kind of person she is. You only care about a child to carry on the family line. I regret it. What I regret the most is that I misjudged him. Yep. Mo Jianzhong was about to lose his temper when his phone suddenly rang. The caller ID was Lu Tingxiao. Why would Lu Tingxiao call him so early in the morning? A trace of suspicion flashed across Mo Jianzhong's face as he picked up the call. "Hello, Tingxiao. What's the matter so early?" "Uncle Mo, is Ling Tian beside you?" Yes. "Are you looking for Ling Tian?" "Uncle Mo, please put me on speaker." Lu Tingxiao's voice came from the other end of the phone. Chapter 1385. Mo Jianzhong didn't understand, but he still turned on the speaker. Then, Lu Tingxiao's calm voice came from the other end of the phone. Ning Tianxin lost a lot of blood during the abortion in the emergency room on the top floor of Ren AI Hospital. Lu Tingxiao's words resounded clearly in the empty living room, in the ears of Mo Jianzhong, Kong Shui, and Mo Lingtian. It was like a thunderclap. After a while, the three of them came back to their senses. Kong Shui snatched the phone from her husband and asked anxiously, "Tingxiao, what are you talking about?" "Yesterday, we tried to persuade Tianxin for the whole afternoon. When Tianxin returned home last night, she was still fine. She promised us that she wouldn't have the thought of aborting the child again. Originally, because it was too late, we wanted to ask her to stay at home for the night. She said that she wanted to go home to discuss the marriage with her father. The driver personally sent her to the door." How? How could she have an abortion? "I've talked to her in AI Hospital. If Tianxin goes there, there's no way I wouldn't know," Mo Jianzhong added. Hearing this, Lu Tingxiao finally understood why Ning Tianxin would go to such a remote private clinic to abort the baby. Last night, Ning Tianxin went to the private clinic in the north of the city alone in the wee hours of the morning. Kong Shuhui's body trembled. She still didn't want to believe it. "Tingxiao, how did you know about this?" Lu Tingxiao's cold answer came from the other end of the phone. "Ning Tianxin is my girlfriend's cousin. Xiaoxi received a call from that small clinic late at night. When we arrived, he was on the verge of death due to excessive blood loss. so we rushed over overnight and transferred him to Ren AI Hospital. Mo Jianzhong was full of regret. He asked anxiously, "How is Tianqin now? The baby? How is the baby? Is the baby safe?" "The baby is gone. She's an emergency. The doctor said she might not be able to keep her uterus." Lu Tingxiao's words made Kong Shui and Mo Jianzhong completely dumbfounded. Kong Shui covered her mouth, choking with sobs. Mo Jianzhong forced himself to steady himself. "Shui, hurry. Go to the hospital. Call Wanru too. We can't let anything happen to Tianqin. Otherwise, he would never forgive himself for the rest of his life." Kong Shui nodded repeatedly, sobbing as she made the phone call. Mo Jianzhong immediately asked the butler to prepare the car, and the two of them rushed out of the door. Behind him, Mo Lingtian was still sitting on the sofa in a trance, seemingly unable to recover from everything that had just happened. Abortion. The child was gone. She might not be able to keep her uterus, heaven's heart. After a long time, Mo Lingtian suddenly woke up with a start. He stood up with a swoosh and ran out of the door in a daze. On the way to the hospital, Mo Lingtian drove very fast. At the same time, he used one of his trembling hands to turn on the phone that had been turned off for the past few days. As soon as he turned on his phone, countless missed calls popped up. Most of them were from Ning Tianxin. Ning Tianxin's message box quietly laid there. "Ling Tian, I've been to a few hospitals these past 2 days, but they all refuse to operate on me with all sorts of reasons. Maybe it's because of your family. Have you explained it to your parents? Ling Tian, reply as soon as you see this. Ling Tian, Mr. and Mrs. Mo came to my house to look for me today. Can you give me a call when you see them? Maybe we can talk it over with your parents. I'm sure they'll understand you." Chapter 1386. Ren AI Hospital. When Mo Lingtian arrived, Ning Tianxin had just been pushed out of the emergency room. The girl's lips were chapped, and her face was as pale as a piece of paper. Her skin was so white that it was almost transparent. "Doctor, how is my sister?" Ning, she was the first to ask. The doctor's forehead was covered with sweat, and he looked exhausted. He sighed and said, "Fortunately, you sent her to the hospital in time. Her uterus was saved, but," the doctor said in a blaming tone, "when she went to the hospital for a checkup, didn't the doctor tell her that she had a severe cold uterus? If she had an abortion, it would cause great harm to her body, and she might even be infertile. Now, she had an operation in a small hospital, which caused a lot of bleeding. I'm afraid it will be very difficult for her to get pregnant in the future. Alas, it's my fault. It's all our fault. If we didn't stop Tianqin from going to the hospital, she wouldn't have been forced to go to such a small clinic." Kong Shui looked at the girl in the trolley and couldn't stop crying. Mo Lingtian stood a few steps away from the trolley and looked at the pale girl in the trolley. Ning, she saw Mo Lingtian from the corner of her eyes. She didn't care that Mo Jianzhong and Kong Shui were also here. She was about to rush over when Lu Tingxiao stopped her. "Be good. Go and accompany your cousin. Leave this to me, okay?" Ning, she looked at Ning Tianxin and decided to take care of her first. Kong Shui and Mo Jianzhong didn't even look at Mo Lingtian. They all followed Ning Tianxin into the ward carefully. Then, only Lu Tingxiao and Mo Lingtian were left in the corridor. Lu Tingxiao walked to Mo Lingtian and didn't say anything. He just opened a video on his phone and handed it to Mo Lingtian. Mo Lingtian looked at the phone in Lu Tingxiao's hand and took it mechanically. Lu Tingxiao patted him on the shoulder and entered the ward. Mo Lingtian seemed to have lost his soul. He walked to the bench and sat down blankly with the phone in his hand. The video on Lu Tingxiao's phone seemed to be a surveillance video. In the video, it seemed to be a shabby small clinic. Mo Lingtian thought of something and his expression changed. Sure enough, the next second, Ning Tianxin's figure appeared in the video. Mo Lingtian's back tensed up subconsciously, and he stared at the thin back of the man. On the screen, Ning Tianxin looked absent-minded. She was all alone, asking the nurse questions. Then, she paid the fee, did the examination, and sat on the bench, waiting. From the beginning to the end, the girl's expression was unusually calm. Until she was in the operating room. When the doctor told her that the surgery would start in 10 minutes, the girl clutched the ultrasound photo tightly in her hand, and she instantly fell apart. From his angle, he could only see the girl's lowered head and trembling shoulders. She didn't even make a sound, but it made his heart feel as if it was tightly gripped by an iron hand, almost suffocating him. In the video, the girl's choking voice could be heard intermittently. "Baby, sorry. Sorry, I'm sorry. Mom can't keep you, sorry. Mommy loves you. Ning Tianxin, you can start the surgery now." The doctor's voice came from the video. The girl raised her head in a panic, revealing a tear-stained face filled with extreme fear. In the next second, she quickly took out her phone and typed on it with trembling hands. It seemed like she was sending a message to someone. The expression on her face looked like she was looking for the last bit of redemption. However, in the end, the girl seemed to have thought of something, and the last bit of light on her face was extinguished. She wrote and deleted that long message, and her fingers drooped down. Mo Lingtian unlocked his cell phone and looked at the last message that the girl had sent him. Looking at the two lonely words Lingtian and the unfinished message, he clenched his fists tightly and sobbed uncontrollably. Chapter 1387. In the corridor, there were people coming and going. A man wearing pajamas and slippers sat on a cold bench, crying like a child. After an unknown amount of time, the door of the ward opened and a tall man walked out. He stood in front of Mo Lingtian and said expressionlessly, "Are you done?" Mo Lingtian looked up slowly, his eyes full of bitterness. "Ha, Lu Tingxiao, you're really cruel." Lu Tingxiao said, "I'm just afraid that my wife's hand will hurt if she hits you." Xianxia had just walked out of a period of pain. She was exhausted and hadn't fully recovered yet. How could he allow her to worry or tire herself out? And Mo Lingtian, how could a brother do that? Sometimes, men knew how to make a man suffer better than women. Even if he was beaten to death by Ning Shi, it couldn't compare to seeing Tianxin abort the child alone. When he thought of the girl entering the operating room, the desperate and empty eyes, and the text message, his heart suddenly tightened to the point where he couldn't breathe. 3 days ago, when she told him that she would abort the child, her expression was so calm and relaxed, as if she didn't care at all. And he actually believed her. In the end, he even suspected and misunderstood her maliciously. And Mo Lingtian sat there with empty eyes. Lu Tingxiao, at the last moment, what did Tianxin want to say to me? What did she want to say? Lu Tingxiao glanced at him indifferently and then said calmly, "At the last moment, Ning Tianxin wasn't a woman who loved you, but a mother. Out of a mother's instinct, she probably wanted to save her child, even if she had to bear all the malice and suspicion herself." As soon as Lu Tingxiao finished speaking, Mo Lingtian, who had just calmed down, immediately had red eyes. Lu Tingxiao continued, "But she knew that you didn't want it and you wouldn't want it. So, in despair, she entered the operating room and killed her own child to fulfill your love. Even though she knew that she would be infertile if she had an abortion, even if she ruined her own life, she still wanted to save your life." "Stop." Mo Lingtian grabbed his hair and screamed hysterically. When Ning Shi walked out of the ward, she heard Lu Tingxiao's words. She saw Mo Lingtian's shoulders trembling violently, holding his head and howling in pain. Seeing Ning Shi walk out, Lu Tingxiao immediately walked over to her side. There was no doubt which side his brother and wife were on. "Are you still angry?" Looking at Mo Lingtian's painful expression, Ning Shi pinched the space between her eyebrows. "Forget it. I won't beat him even if I'm angry. Beating him up now will only make him feel less guilty." Seeing Lu Tingxiao's cell phone kept ringing, Ning Shi hurriedly said, "Lu Tingxiao, Sister Tianxin is out of danger. Go to work. All right, call me if there's anything." And then, Ning Shi nodded and tiptoed to kiss the man's lips. "Lu Tingxiao, thank you." It happened so suddenly that she was in a panic last night. Everything was solved by Lu Tingxiao, and even Mo Lingtian had helped her torture him. Lu Tingxiao stroked the girl's hair. "Don't tire yourself out. Chapter 1388. After Lu Tingxiao went to the company, Mo Jianzhong, Kong Shuwei, and Kong Wanru walked out of the doctor's office one after another. They all looked very serious and didn't even look at Mo Lingtian, who was sitting on the opposite bench. Wanru, tell me honestly, how serious is the situation? Kong Shuwei asked nervously. Ningxi also looked over with a frown. Kong Wanru sighed. Director Liang said it very clearly just now, and I have nothing to add. In this case, it's basically impossible for her to get pregnant again. It's already very lucky that her uterus can be saved. Kong Shui couldn't stop crying. Her face was full of self-blame. What should I do? Mo Jianzhong looked at Ning Shi with a dark face. Miss Ning, thank you so much this time. If you didn't come in time, by the way, do Tianxin's family know about it? Should I inform them? After all, it's such a big thing. Ning Shi immediately shook her head and said with certainty, No, my grandpa is in poor health and can't be provoked. Sister Tianxin definitely doesn't want her mother to know and worry about her. As for my uncle, if he knows about it, I don't know what he will do. It will only make things more difficult for Sister Tianxin. I think that's what Sister Tianxin doesn't want to see. Ning, she said in a serious tone, Thank you for your concern for Sister Tianxin. I'll tell her that you've come to see her. As for Sister Tianxin, I'll take care of her. You can rest assured. Ning Shi's words were very euphemistic, but it was equivalent to asking them to leave. After all, anyone from the Mo family could provoke Ning Tianxin. If you need any help, please contact us. Mo Jianzhong naturally understood Ning Shi's meaning. He didn't have the face to stay here. After saying that, he looked at Mo Lingtian with a gloomy face and said, Why are you still sitting here? Isn't everything going according to your wishes now? Mo Lingtian didn't move as if he didn't hear his father's words. Kong Shui wanted to say something, but stopped. In the end, she didn't say anything and left. Shaking her head, Lingtian couldn't be blamed for this. They were also at fault. They were too anxious and didn't even listen to Tianxin's explanation. However, it was useless to say anything now. The only thing they could do now was to try their best to compensate. In one night, their daughter-in-law and grandson were gone. With such a huge blow, the two elders seemed to have aged 10 years in an instant. At the entrance of the hospital, Kong Shui wiped her tears with a face full of sadness. Such a good girl. It's our Mo family's fault. We're not blessed to have such a good daughter-in-law. I don't care what you and Ling Tian think. From now on, in my eyes, Tianxin is my biological daughter. After everyone left, only Ning Shi and Mo Lingtian were left at the door of the ward. Mo Lingtian stood up stiffly and walked towards the ward door. Ning Shi crossed her arms and leaned against the door frame. Seeing this, she slowly stretched out a leg to support herself, blocking Mo Lingtian's way. Mo Lingtian said, Let me see her. Ning Shi, from now on, if I let you get within 3 steps of her, I'll call you uncle. Mo Lingtian said, I'll just take a look. Ning Shi, what can you do if I take a look? Mo Lingtian was speechless. He didn't know. He just wanted to see her. He wanted to see her like crazy. Chapter 1389. In the dead silence, a cell phone rang. Mo Lingtian took out his cell phone reflexively. When he saw the name flashing on the screen, his face turned pale for a moment. The caller ID was Xiao. The child he regarded as a scourge was gone. Ning Tianxin didn't pester him anymore. His parents didn't force him to get married anymore. Even Xiao took the initiative to call him. After dawn, what awaited him was not endless darkness, but his life was back on track. Why did he feel that everything was meaningless? The only thought in his mind was to see her, to see her. Mo Lingtian hung up the phone with Guan Xiao and looked at Ning Shi with a pale face. He still stubbornly repeated, I just want to see her. Ning Shi looked at the man in front of her, and her eyes were as cold as ice. Mo Lingtian, if you really feel guilty about Sister Tianxin, please don't show up in front of her again. This is the only thing you can do for her. Mo Lingtian stiffened his back and stood still for a long, long time. After more than 10 minutes, the man finally took a slow step, turned around, and walked away step by step. Ling Tian finally left. She pinched her eyebrows, sighed, and took out her cell phone to make a call. The phone rang and was picked up. Then there came a girl's surprised voice. Hello? Brother Shi? Annie, are you free now? Can you do me a favor? Before She finished speaking, the girl's aggrieved cry came from the other end of the phone. Brother Shi? She immediately became anxious and hurriedly asked, Annie, what's wrong? Brother Shi, I was grounded by boss. She frowned. Grounded? What did you do? Why did he ground you? I think boss may be jealous of me. Annie answered, sobbing. What? She was confused and didn't understand what Annie meant. Brother Shi, since you asked me to meet that day, boss has sent someone to watch me and forbade me to go out. Most importantly, he also robbed me of the cookies you gave me. They have all been taken away. And Annie began to weep bitterly. Damn it, that guy actually dared to snatch the biscuits she gave to Annie? Was there a mistake? The corners of She's mouth twitched, and she was speechless. She quickly comforted the little girl on the other end of the phone. Annie, be good. Don't cry, don't cry. It's just some handmade biscuits. I'll make more for you in the future. I'll make as many as you want. Don't be sad. Annie sobbed and then asked anxiously, By the way, Brother Shi, why did you ask me for help? Are you hurt? She pinched the space between her eyebrows. It's not me, it's a friend of mine. Is Satan at home or at the office? He should be at the company at this time, Annie replied. Who's watching over you at home now? Is eldest brother here? She asked again. It's Sister Shirlu. I don't know if eldest senior brother is here. Okay, I got it. Wait for me. And the little girl answered obediently. After hanging up Annie's call, she dialed another number. The phone rang for about a dozen times before the owner of the phone slowly picked it up. Then came the man's lazy voice that seemed to be still sleepy. Hello. Hey, second senior brother. Come with me to the haunted house. She said quickly. Chapter 1390. What haunted house? Tang Lang was still confused. She said, It's where Elder Senior lives. Tang Lang yawned. What are you doing there? Aren't you afraid of ghosts? She said, I'm looking for someone. Tang Lang was speechless. Looking for someone? Who are you looking for? She said, Annie. After a long silence, Tang Lang said, Does Lu Tingxiao know that you want me to accompany you to look for a woman? I'm looking for Annie. She's grounded by Satan and can't come out now. Go there now, and we'll meet there later, she said quickly. I'm not going. What if I meet that pervert? Tang Lang snorted, determined not to obey. Of course, I'm looking for you, just in case I need to deal with Elder Senior. She could deal with the others by herself. Fuck, where's your humanity? She gritted her teeth. How dare you talk to me about humanity? Believe it or not, I'll throw the bill in your face. How much money have you owed me since you came back? What can you do with that small salary of yours? I'm the one who paid for you every time you fooled around outside. It's not even enough for you to sell yourself to me. And this is your duty as a bodyguard. Okay? Tang Lang retorted unhappily. How? Was it not enough? My head was on the list of original sins with a bounty of 100 million US dollars, okay? She held her forehead. How dare you show off? After the call, she immediately rushed to the outskirts of the city where she lived in Yinshan. All the doctors said that Tianxin couldn't have children in the future. She wanted to find Annie to take a look at Tianxin. Even if there's only a glimmer of hope, she had to try. After changing into men's clothes, she drove her Xiaohei to the entrance of the gloomy old house in the outskirts of the city. Even though it was daytime, the house still looked eerie. It was no wonder it was called the most haunted house in the capital. However, because it was daytime and the horror movie she had watched seemed to have some effect, she was obviously much calmer this time. Tang Lang raised his head to look at the house in front of him and clicked his tongue. TSK, TSK, TSK. Just by looking at this house, I can tell that this fellow has basically bid farewell to girls for the rest of his life. Which girl would be willing to go home with him? Don't talk nonsense, hurry up. She held her breath, quietly pushed open the door, and slipped in. It would be best if he could bring Annie out without alerting anyone and bring her back half an hour later without anyone noticing. As Annie said, there seemed to be no one here today, not even 16. Ningxi smoothly avoided the alarms, climbed upstairs through the window, and then sneaked into Annie's room. Annie, Ningxi lowered her voice. Brother Shi. In the room, the little girl who was pounding medicine gloomily put down the things in her hand and ran over. Brother Shi, you're finally here. I miss you so much, good girl. Don't cry. Ningxi comforted the little girl softly and said apologetically, Sorry, Annie. I have to trouble you again. Annie immediately shook her head. Brother Shi, don't say that. You saved my life. I'm afraid you don't need me. Chapter 1391. Tang Lang leaned against the door, the corners of his mouth twitching. That's enough. If I didn't know better, I would think you too were eloping. Hurry up. If Tang Yi is alarmed, I'll be the one in trouble. Ningxi took Annie's hand and quickly followed Tang Lang out. The three of them smoothly walked to the door, but just as they were about to go out, an accident happened. They saw Shirlu stumbling towards them with blood all over his body. Ningxi, Tang Lang, and Annie were all startled. When Shirlu saw Ning, Shi, and Tang Lang sneaking out with Annie, she also revealed a surprised expression. But she didn't have time to think too much. She looked at the approaching danger behind her with a face full of fear. At this moment, an extremely sharp and terrifying palm wind suddenly struck toward 16. 16's face was filled with despair, as if he was on the verge of death. The next second, Ningxi pulled 16 behind her, grabbed Tang Lang next to her, and threw him to the front. Fuck, Tangxi, fuck you. She actually used him as a human shield. Tang Lang cursed as he met the attack with his palm. After seeing clearly who it was, Tang Lang was dumbfounded, his calves trembling. Tang Yi. At this moment, Tang Ye's eyes were scarlet red. He didn't wear his glasses. Obviously, he had completely lost his mind. Fuck. What's wrong with this guy? Tang Lang wailed as he hurriedly dealt with Tang Ye's almost crazy attack. 16 was still in shock as she looked at the man who held her waist and saved her, looking dazed. After a long while, she finally reacted. Tangxi. After all, the last time she obeyed Feng Jin's order to kidnap Tangxi, she was dressed like a weak underage girl and was so afraid of ghosts, completely destroying the image of the Tang she once loved. So now seeing Tang, she reappeared in her memory. She couldn't react for a while. What's going on? Why does eldest senior brother want to kill you? Ningxi asked with a frown. 16 then came back to her senses. I don't know. Brother Yi suddenly attacked me like crazy, as if he was stimulated by something. Stimulated? Ningxi's expression suddenly changed. In the past, Tang Yi did have similar situations, but it was very rare. What could have caused him to be stimulated like this? Tangxi, come and help me. I'm going to die because of you. Not far away, Tang Lang, who was being pushed back step by the crazy Tang Yi, roared. Facing Tang Yi, who had completely lost his rationality, even Tang Lang would find it hard to deal with him. Moreover, Tang Lang didn't know what was going on with him. He had clearly said that he would work hard to cultivate, but in the end, he was still idling around every day. Ningxi knew that Tang Lang had something on his mind, but this fellow always had a sloppy look on his face. Every time she asked, he would change the topic. It was obvious that he didn't want to talk about it, so she couldn't do anything about it. Annie, take care of 16. Ningxi carefully placed 16 on the sofa and quickly joined the battle. 16 had interacted with Tangxi last time and knew that Tangxi's skills had deteriorated to an appalling state, so he immediately looked over worriedly. However, they found that the situation had changed because of Tangxi's participation. It had only been a few months since they last met, but Tangxi's martial arts skills had improved tremendously. Besides, her moves seemed a bit strange. She had never seen them before. Even Tang Lang was shocked. Fuck, stinking brat. Where did you go to steal from? Why haven't I seen these moves before? How could he secretly learn them when I'm his master? Chapter 1392. It's precisely because you're such an unreliable master that I have to secretly learn from you. Ning, she rolled her eyes at him. Then, the three of them fought fiercely. Although Ning, she had learned a few moves from Han Xiao, she could only deal with Tang Yi for a while. Soon, the two of them couldn't handle Tang Yi anymore. Tang Yi's eyes were already completely bloodshot. He struck Ning Shi's shoulder and then fiercely attacked Tang Lang's vital point, until a lazy voice came from not far away, a Yi. The moment that indifferent voice sounded, Tang Yi suddenly stopped all his movements as if his acupuncture points had been hit. Tang Lang was sweating profusely as he dodged Tang Yi's fatal blow. Ning Shi also bent over while panting. Then, she subconsciously looked at the white-haired man not far away. Yun Shun. It's over, this guy is back. At this moment, the crazed look in Tang Yi's eyes slowly receded like the tide. In the end, only a pitch-black emptiness and a trace of hidden desolation remained. Looking at Tang Yi's expression, Ning Shi's face was full of lingering fear. What exactly happened? There was really something wrong with eldest senior brother today. After who knew how long, Tang Yi's eyes finally regained clarity. He stared straight at Tang Lang, who was in a sorry state. Come with me. Tang Lang wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Damn, how can I not go over? Wouldn't it be courting death if he went over now? He was really going to die because of that brat Tang Shi. Tang Yi's voice was cold. If you don't come over, then continue. If you don't come over, then continue fighting? Fuck, I'm coming. Tang Lang didn't say anything else and immediately followed him. Ning Shi looked worriedly at the two people in the distance. What happened to eldest senior brother? The white-haired man chuckled, looked at her, and said faintly, Darling, shouldn't you be worried about yourself? Stealing from me while I'm not here? Ning Shi's face instantly darkened. What the hell did he mean by stealing? Ning Shi was still worried about eldest senior brother and second senior brother. She didn't want to cause more trouble, so she took a deep breath and said, I have something urgent to discuss with Annie. It will only take half an hour. What can I do for you to let her go with me? Just tell me your conditions. The man raised an eyebrow. Beg me. Ning Shi begged, please. The man immediately revealed a disappointed expression. TSK. Boring Ning Shi, so what exactly do you want? Looking at Ning Shi's crumbling expression, the man said, pay the commission. Seeing that there was hope, Ning Shi immediately asked, sure, how much? The man replied, 10,000 biscuits. I want you to make it yourself. Ning Shi, 10,000 biscuits. Why don't you die from eating them? Annie, who was standing at the side, immediately blamed herself for implicating Big Brother Shi. As expected, Big Brother was still angry about the biscuits. She should have been more careful and not let Big Brother see those biscuits. She knew that Big Brother's brain worked differently from ordinary people. Annie was extremely anxious and weakly spoke up for Ning Shi. Big Brother Shun, 10,000 seems to be too much, and you have to make it yourself. Hearing this, Yun Xin touched his chin thoughtfully and then nodded. It seems to be a bit much. Then let's make it 9,999. Ning Shi, Annie, 16. Chapter 1393. What's the difference between 9,999 and 10,000? Believe it or not, I'll kidnap all the girls in your organization. The veins on Ning Shi's forehead bulged. She took a deep breath and said, 9,999, right? Fine, but half an hour will be a month. Whatever, it was more important to take Annie to see Sister Tianxin first, just in case. The man's white hair swayed in the wind, and he smiled. Deal. Ning Shi pulled Annie and ran away as if she was afraid that he would go back on his word. Brother Shi, are you really going to do so much? How can you finish it all by hand? Annie looked worried. Of course, I'll do it. I'll stuff myself to death. Ning, she said, and glanced in the direction where Tang Lang and Tang Yi left. She didn't know why eldest senior brother was looking for second senior brother. Forget it. Yin Shun is here, and eldest senior brother is awake. Tang Lang is thick-skinned. He'll be fine. Get on. Hold on tight. Ning, she helped Annie put on the helmet and drove to the hospital. Rin AI Hospital. Annie looked curiously at the girl who was as pale as a piece of paper on the sickbed. The girl's complexion was very poor, and she looked abnormally weak, but one could still see that she was a very beautiful woman without makeup. Seeing how nervous Xianxia was, and how he went to the haunted house to look for her even though he was afraid of ghosts, Annie looked a little sad and asked, "Brother Shi, is this your new friend?" "She's my cousin, Ning Tianxin," Xianxia answered. "Ah, she's your cousin." The girl looked cheerful. "What's wrong with her? She looks like she lost a lot of blood." "Yes, she lost a lot of blood. She just had an abortion. Because it was done in a small hospital, there was an accident during the operation and she lost a lot of blood. She was just rescued and her uterus was almost removed. All the doctors say she may not be able to have children in the future." Ningxi's tone was very serious. Annie nodded. "Well, I'll take a look at her." "Okay." Ningxia immediately pulled a chair for Annie to sit down. Annie sat down by the bed, gently picked up Ning Tianxin's wrist, and began to feel her pulse. Ningxia held her breath and stood by the side, not daring to disturb him. As time went by, Annie's face became more and more serious, and Ningxi's heart sank little by little. Even Annie couldn't do anything about it. After about 5 minutes, Annie finally stopped checking Ning Tianxin's pulse and put her wrist back under the blanket. "Annie, how is my cousin?" Ningxia immediately asked. Annie sighed and said, "Did she have a cold wound before?" "Yes," Annie said in a low voice. "Although her womb is a little cold, it's not a big problem. She'll be fine after some rest." But now, with the addition of the two factors, her womb is already cold, and the abortion has seriously damaged her body. Blood is the mother of qi, and she has lost a large amount of yin blood, so she has no qi to rely on, which means that both her qi and blood are deficient. Is there no way to cure it? She really can't get pregnant again? Hearing Annie's serious words, Ningxia asked anxiously. Annie deliberated over her words for a moment before saying, "The possibility of pregnancy is extremely small, but it's not impossible. The problem is, with her physical condition, even if she's pregnant, it's impossible for her to keep it." Chapter 1394. As Annie said this, she cautiously felt Ning Tianxin's pulse again, and then said, "But, Brother Shi, don't worry. Fortunately, you told Brother Yinshin that I can come out for a month. During this month, I'll help this sister nurse her body and remove the lochia in her body with my acupuncture skills. As long as she does what I told her, takes medicine on time, and has a good rest, it's possible for her to get pregnant in 3 to 5 years, or at least 1 to 2 years, when her uterus and vitality are restored." Hearing this, Ningxia, who had been nervous, finally breathed a sigh of relief. "Great. It's good that there's hope. Annie, thank you so much." "Brother Shi, you don't have to thank me. Brother Shi's sister is my sister. Oh, by the way," Annie looked at the girl on the sickbed, thought of something, and reminded him, in this case, the psychological state of the patient is also very important. "I don't know what this sister has been through. Brother Shi, you must comfort her and keep her in a good mood. If necessary, you can also invite a professional psychiatrist." "Okay, I see. Thank you for reminding me. I'll contact a doctor later. I happen to know one." Saying this, Ningxia looked at Ning Tianxin on the sickbed and looked a little worried. At this time, a cell phone rang. It was Xiaotao. Ningxia remembered that the opening ceremony of Sky of the Nine Clouds was going to be held today, and hurriedly answered the phone. "Hello, Xiaotao. Brother Shi, are you up? The opening ceremony will be held in the studio in 2 hours. Don't forget." "Okay, I see." Ningxia hung up the phone. "Brother Shi, if you have work to do, go ahead. I'll take care of my sister." Annie said. Ningxia hugged the little girl gratefully. "Thank you, Annie. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't know what to do. I'm leaving now. I'll come back as soon as I finish. Remember to call me if you need anything. If you need anything, call this number and ask him to help you." Ningxia said and gave her Xianxia's phone number. "Okay, Brother Shi, go ahead." After leaving the ward, Ningxia immediately called Xianxia. "Miss Cece, what can I do for you? My cousin is hospitalized. Sure, Xiao can follow me these few days. Help me keep an eye on the hospital. There's a girl in the ward called Annie. She's my friend. If she needs anything, help her buy it. Just run some errands. Of course, this is not the point. The point is, remember, don't let Mo Ling Tian get close to this ward. Got it? Don't let Mo Ling Tian get close to this ward. Ningxi deliberately emphasized. Remember Miss Xiaoxi. I won't let him get close. Xianxia didn't ask why and directly guaranteed. All right, that's all for now. You've worked hard. Ningxi left after giving him all the instructions. Film City. After putting on makeup and changing clothes, Ningxi arrived half an hour earlier. The opening ceremony was an auspicious day that was calculated in advance. If it was late, it would be considered inauspicious. On the scene, the leading actors, directors, producers, supervisors, and other main crew members arrived one after another. In addition, there were several important investors. Of course, most of them were the media. It was very lively. The table for worship had been prepared and was covered with red velvet. On the table, there was an incense burner, a roast suckling pig, and fresh fruit for worship. Chapter 1395. Ningxi had been busy since midnight and felt dizzy. After dealing with the media, she wanted to find a place to rest before the ceremony started. However, as soon as she opened the door of the lounge, she saw Jiang Mai, Xianxia, Suyin. The three of them each occupied a corner, and the atmosphere was indescribably strange. Jiang Mai and Xianxia were there, but why was Suyin also in the lounge? Damn it. She had better find another place to rest. However, it was not that easy. When Ningxi was about to leave, Suyin stood up and walked towards her. Xiaoxi, Xianxia, who had been secretly observing Jiang Mai, immediately looked in Su Yan's direction. Did Su Yan know Ningxi? And he called her so intimately. But Xianxia was still here, so Ningxi had to turn around and talk to him. President Su, what's up? Can we talk? I have something to tell you. Sure. Ningxi could only follow Su Yan out to prevent Xianxia from seeing through her and getting hold of her. Xianxia's expression changed when he saw the two of them leave the lounge and head outside. This Su Yan, even the way he looked at Ning, she was weird. Was Ningxi's boyfriend not Jiang Mai, but Su Yan? Didn't Su Yan have a girlfriend? And they were about to get married. Damn it, don't tell me that this guy is messing around with a married man. Jiang Mai looked at Ning, she who was leaving with Su Yan. What were they going to talk about? A moment later, Ningxi and Su Yan walked to the small garden behind the hotel. Just say it. The ceremony is about to start. Ningxi glanced at her watch. Su Yan's gaze was complicated as he looked at the girl in front of him. After a long time, he finally took out a large red invitation card and handed it to her. My wedding date with Shui Luo is set on the 8th of next month. Ningxi took the invitation card and glanced at it casually. Congratulations. Su Yan felt even more uncomfortable when he saw Ningxi's attitude. If she had been as sarcastic as before, it would have proved that she cared about him. But now, seeing that Ningxi took the invitation and was about to leave, Su Yan clenched his fists, suddenly caught up with the girl, and grabbed her hand. Xiaoxi, don't you have anything to say to me? Before Ningxi could speak, a hand suddenly reached out from behind and forcefully pulled Ningxi's hand from Su Yan's. Ningxi turned her head and raised her eyebrows at Jiang Mai, who suddenly ran over. Golden Retriever? Jiang Mai glared at her unhappily. What's there to talk about with an ex? What if I get caught on camera? After saying that, she glanced at Su Yan coldly. Young Master Su, you're about to get married. Please pay attention to your image. Even if you're not afraid of gossip, my little junior sister is afraid of gossip. Su Yan frowned as he watched the two of them leave. Not only were they close, but Jiang Mai even knew about his relationship with Ning. Could it be that the rumors were true? She was really dating Jiang Mai. After taking Ningxi away, Jiang Mai immediately said unhappily, "Why did you waste your time talking to that scumbag?" She shrugged. He obviously came here to ambush me today. I might as well get rid of him once and for all. Jiang Mai looked at her with a look of disbelief. Really? Don't tell me you still have feelings for your first love? Chapter 1396. After all, the first love was the most unforgettable. Do you think I'm stupid? Ningxi said grumpily. Jiang Mai's face became more serious. Are you going to use those methods to deal with Su Yin? For example, hook up with him and then dump him? Ningxi raised her eyebrows. Hook up with Su Yin? If I really wanted to hook up with him, do you think Ningxi Weluo would still be around? Jiang Mai, he couldn't refute that. Ningxi suddenly stared at Jiang Mai. Golden hair, have you heard of a saying? Jiang Mai frowned. What saying? Ningxi glanced at him lightly. Acting as if nothing happened is the most ruthless revenge. It was too disgusting to ask her to hook up with Su Yin. Ningxi continued. By the way, there's one more thing. Usually, if a person can't forget his ex, it must be because the current one isn't good enough. So, now that I have my sweetheart, why do you think I can't forget my ex? Jiang Mai, what a cheap mouth. Jiang Mai took a few deep breaths to recover from the pain of being abused for the umpteenth time. He looked at the sweet girl opposite him and mumbled, Did you make up with Lu Tingxiao after the fight? Look at your smug face. He had been manic for a while and didn't dare to be within 3 steps of her. Ningxi recalled last night. Spring breeze town. The wheat field, completely ignoring Jiang Mai's question. He revealed an incomparably gentle look and was immersed in his own world, murmuring, Alas, I suddenly have an impulse to propose to my sweetheart. I have to speed up the process of accumulating dowry. Jiang Mai, pretend I didn't ask soon. It was time for the opening ceremony. The main cast and crew worshipped the gods one by one. Finally, the director lifted the red cloth covering the camera and announced the start of filming. The audience cheered and applauded. Meng Shi, who was standing beside Ningxi, had been looking around absent-mindedly since the beginning of the opening ceremony. At this time, she walked up to the director and asked, Director Gua, is President Yun not here today? I've informed Boss Yun, but such a big shot definitely won't come to our small opening ceremony. Gua Qixing replied. Got it. Meng Shi looked disappointed, then asked, Will he really be making a guest appearance? About that. At that time, the other party only mentioned it on the phone. As for whether he will come or not, I really don't know. After all, it is rumored that the boss's temperament is somewhat unpredictable. Everything will only be known when the time comes. Gua Qixing's tone was also not too sure. Meng Shi thought for a while and suggested, By the way, Director Gua, isn't the role of Lung Aoshue's mysterious master still vacant? Why not let President Yin make a guest appearance? This is a righteous and positive role. Moreover, it is very popular among the original readers, certainly more suitable than the father of the devil cult, which, isn't it? Hearing this, how could Gua Qixing not know what Meng Shi meant? He coughed lightly and said awkwardly, I'm afraid this isn't something I can decide. Boss Yun personally chose the role of Yun Sitian. He chose it himself? Why did he choose this role? Maybe it's because this character's surname is also Yun, and Boss Yun has taken a liking to it? The thoughts of the rich are unpredictable. Ningxi listened to the conversation between Meng Shi and Gua Qixing. She pinched her eyebrows and sighed, indicating that she was very tired. Chapter 1397. After the opening ceremony, Ningxi said that her family was sick and declined the following social engagements. Then she rushed back to the hospital to take care of Ning Tianxin. Ningxi saw a man running towards her as soon as she arrived at the gate of the hospital. Tang Shi, you bastard. Hey, second senior brother, you're back. Ningxi glanced at the man in front of her through the sunglasses. Tang Lang's hair was messy and his clothes were dusty. Leaves were all over his body. He looked pretty intense. TSK, Tisk, stinking brat, I went to help you, but you actually abandoned me and left by yourself. I didn't want to disturb you, and eldest senior brother. I haven't asked you yet. What did you do to provoke eldest senior brother to this extent? Ningxi moved closer to ask curiously. Tang Lang's face changed, and he said grumpily, Go away. You're a kid. After saying that, he disappeared without a trace. Ningxi looked at the direction in which Tang Lang left, and a trace of worry appeared on her face. Maybe it had something to do with Tang Lang's betrayal. She had wanted to ask Lu Tingxiao about it, but Tang Ling obviously didn't want anyone to know, so she didn't want to ask. She walked to the door of the ward and saw Xianxia guarding the door dutifully like a door god. "Miss Xiaoxi, did anyone come here when I was away?" Ningxi asked. "No." Ningxi nodded. That guy was smart. Ningxi pushed the door open and saw Annie talking to Ning Tianxin on the bed. "Sister Tianxin, you're awake?" Ningxi hurried over. "Brother Shi, you're back." "Sister Tianxin just woke up," Annie said. Ning Tianxin glanced at the 4 drip on the back of her hand and the white ward. She looked confused. "Xiaoxi, why am I here? You had an operation in that small clinic and couldn't stop the bleeding. So you were transferred here in the early morning." Hearing this, Ning Tianxin subconsciously touched her flat belly. Her eyes regained focus, and the memory of last night also appeared in her mind bit by bit. She looked at Ning Tianxin's blank face, and her heart skipped a beat. "Sister Tianxin, how do you feel now? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere?" Ning Tianxin shook her head slowly and looked at Ningxi. "Sorry, Xiaoxi. I made you worry." Ningxi sighed. "You almost scare me to death." "Does your family know?" Ning Tianxin asked immediately. "Don't worry, I didn't tell my family. I helped you hide it. However, the Mo family already knows about it. This morning, Mo Lingtian's parents and aunt came to see you. I was afraid that you would be upset, so I asked them to leave. Also, Mo Lingtian said that he wanted to see you. I also asked him to leave. Your body still needs to be observed for a few days before you can be discharged. At that time, you should stay at my place for a while. I really don't feel at ease leaving you alone. Also, this is my friend Annie. Her medical skills are excellent. With her nursing you, your body will definitely recover. Thank you, Xiaoxi." Ningxi noticed that Ning Tianxin's expression had been indifferent since she woke up. When she heard what she said, there was no sadness or joy, not to mention any intense reaction. But this made Ningxi even more uneasy. However, she knew that no matter how worried she was, there was nothing she could do about it. She could only rely on herself and time to get over it. Chapter 1398. For the past few days, everyone in the Lu group had been on high alert. Soon it would be the time for the Lu family's annual family meeting. At that time, the stewards of the Lu family from all over the country and overseas would gather in the capital for a week-long party. So they had to make sure that nothing went wrong during this period. The company's board meeting had just ended, and the others left one after another, leaving only Lu Tingxiao and Lu Jingli in the conference room. Lu Jingli leaned back in his chair weakly, looking as if his body was about to be hollowed out. Damn it, it's the scariest time of the year again. Every time it was the annual family meeting, apart from business, those people were most enthusiastic about trying to get women for him and his brother. His brother was the one who got the most women. Of course, he had a lot of women too. Even he, who liked hot girls, couldn't resist them, let alone his brother who didn't like women. Although his brother was no longer single this year, his relationship with Ning, she couldn't be made public. Even if it was made public, if Ningxi's family background wasn't powerful enough to make those people give up, they would only crazily try to get women for him. After all, it was the position of the mistress of the family, which involved huge interests. Who didn't want to give up their own woman? At the same time, what happened to Ning, she was also a big hidden danger. Lu Tingxiao looked at the dusk outside the window. "How's the investigation of Xiaoxi going?" Lu Jingli scratched his head. "It's not easy to find out the man's identity. It's too difficult to find out who the man was that night in such a big hotel with so many rooms. The trickiest thing is that it's Qinyuan. Brother, you know that Qinyuan is famous for its privacy in the capital. There are no surveillance cameras in the entire hotel, including within a radius of 10 miles. But brother, don't worry, I'll check everyone who stayed that night one by one. I don't believe I can't catch that beast. I'll give you 7 days off. No problem. I'll get it done as soon as possible." Peach Blossom Dock. After Ning Tianxin was discharged from the hospital, she temporarily moved here. In addition to Annie, Ningxi also invited Qin Mufeng. In the yard, the night breeze was slightly cold. Ning Tianxin sat on a cushioned rattan chair, holding a cup of Chinese medicine tea that Annie had specially made for her. The air was filled with the slightly bitter fragrance of Chinese medicine. Glancing at the man beside her, the girl said calmly, "Dr. Qin, Xiaoxi, is too nervous. I'm really fine. When I decided to have the operation, I had already prepared for the worst and was sure that I could bear the worst result. From the beginning until now, I have never regretted what I have done. Sometimes holding on to uncertain hope is more painful than completely losing hope, isn't it?" Qin Mufeng pinched the space between his eyebrows in frustration. He realized that he was completely useless. "I also know Mo Lingtian. To be honest, I can't imagine that a girl like you would fall for him. One was a famous hedonistic son of a wealthy family in the imperial capital, while the other was a gentle and beautiful girl who was as strong as a rose. Their personalities were poles apart." Ning Tianxin looked up at the moonlight. "It's actually very simple to fall for someone at that age. There's no need for an earth-shattering reason. Maybe it was because you happened to be wearing a white shirt that I liked that afternoon. Or maybe it was because of a look or a look back." Chapter 1399. I remember the first time I saw him was on the bus. I was on my period and my stomach hurt so much I couldn't stand. He was sitting next to me. He had dyed his hair and was wearing a strange outfit. He was full of hostility, but he still stood up to give me his seat. Qin Mufeng looked at the girl's expression and couldn't help but think of the saying, "Love doesn't know where it starts, but it runs deep." Damn it, was Mo Lingtian blind? After Qin Mufeng and Ning Tianxin finished their conversation, she dragged Qin Mufeng into the kitchen. "Qin Mufeng, tell me honestly, how is Sister Tianxin?" Qin Mufeng looked helpless. "My lady boss, I've told you many times, okay? Don't worry. Tianxin is the type that looks soft on the outside but tough on the inside. Her calmness isn't suppressed, it's real calmness. She definitely won't fall sick from depression or commit suicide." Ningxi asked, "Are you sure?" Qin Mufeng said, "Trust my professionalism, okay?" Ningxi didn't really believe him. Qin Mufeng glanced at the girl in the courtyard. The girl's figure was extremely thin and slender. Her face was pale and frail, but there was no trace of sorrow between her brows. Instead, she was calm and collected, and the glimmer in her eyes seemed to be able to warm the years. She waved her hand in front of Qin Mufeng's eyes. "What are you looking at?" Qin Mufeng coughed lightly and looked away. Based on my past experience, I thought there would be a big problem with her mental state. However, after these few days of interaction, she really surprised me. Anyway, Tianxin is really fine. This time, she put herself in a desperate situation and came back to life. Hearing Qin Mufeng's words, she relaxed a little. "So I, the psychiatrist, have completed my mission and retired. The treatment is over," Qin Mufeng said. She was surprised. "Huh, so fast. It's only been a few days." Qin Mufeng said, "Nonsense. If I continue to be your psychologist, how am I going to pick up girls?" Xi's eyes widened. "What did you say?" Cough, cough, cough. "I didn't say anything." Qin Mufeng quickly corrected himself. Xi narrowed her eyes and stared at him. "You said it. You said to pick up girls." Qin Mufeng broke out in cold sweat from the glare. He had no choice but to surrender. All right. That, Tianxin, she's exactly the type I like. I want to chase her." In his line of work, he was not allowed to have a relationship with patients that was beyond the relationship between doctor and patient. "Fuck, you're a beast. I've just experienced such a huge blow." Xi's face was instantly filled with killing intent. Qin Mufeng hurriedly waved his hand and explained, "Please, it's precisely because of this that I urgently need another relationship to get rid of the pain of the previous one." Xi stared at him warily. "Sister Tianxin's condition, you don't mind?" Qin Mufeng said matter-of-factly, "What's there to care about? It's not her fault that she loves the wrong person. As for the problem of children, it doesn't matter if I have children or not. I have a total of 7 brothers and sisters, and I don't need to carry on the family line. My parents are both abroad, and They're quite open-minded, so I don't really care about these things. Ning, she frowned. Are you serious? Qin Mufeng let out a long sigh. Big brother, Tianxin is your cousin. How would I dare to say that I'm not serious? If I'm just playing around, I'm not afraid that you'll break my third leg. Ning, she harumphed. It's good that you know. Cough, but don't tell her that I like Tianxin, it'll scare her. And although her current mental state is still considered stable, there are serious repercussions. Chapter 1400. What side effects? Ning, she asked anxiously. It's hard to accept someone again. Didn't you notice that she doesn't care if she can have another child? She's prepared to spend the rest of her life alone. If she finds out about my feelings, I won't stand a chance, Qin Mufeng analyzed. Actually, I'm worried about that too. Ning, she sighed. You don't have to worry now. If it was someone else, they wouldn't stand a chance, but I'm a professional. Qin Mufeng said confidently. Ning, she raised her eyebrows and looked at him. Qin Mufeng, I suddenly realize that your major in psychology is quite useful when it comes to picking up girls. Of course. Let me tell you, there's no girl I can't get unless I don't want to. Ning Shi's face turned serious. Damn, how many girls have you slept with? Cough, cough, I'm just saying. Till now, Tianxin is the only girl who can make my heart palpitate. Okay. Seeing Ning Shi staring at him as if looking at a big bad wolf, Qin Mufeng broke into a sweat. Don't be so nervous. I didn't say that I would kidnap your cousin immediately. I just have a good impression of her. Even if we can't be lovers in the end, we can still be friends. I won't force her. Hearing Qin Mufeng's words, Ning Shi relaxed a little. They had only known each other for 3 days. She wouldn't believe him if he said he couldn't get her. At this moment, a black car was parked not far away from the courtyard of the Peach Blossom Cove. A man was leaning against the car door. He was still wearing the pajamas he rushed to the hospital that day. His beard was unshaven, and he had a cigarette in his mouth. He stared at the courtyard in the distance without blinking. The phone on the driver's seat kept flashing. Mo Ling Tian glanced at the name on the screen and finally picked up the phone. Hello? Ling Tian, what happened? Why didn't you pick up the phone? A girl's worried voice came from the phone. Nothing. What's the matter? I'm sorry, Ling Tian. I was too harsh that night. It's okay. Ling Tian, your voice doesn't sound right. Are you sick? No. Are you still upset because of that woman? Actually, that kind of person is just doing it for money. If they refuse to compromise, it's because they want more. Mo Ling Tian absent-mindedly listened to Guan Ziao's words on the other end of the phone. Halfway through, he seemed to have seen something and hurriedly hung up the phone. Then, he nervously stared in the direction of the courtyard. Under the doorlight, a familiar figure walked out of the house and walked closer and closer in his direction. Mo Ling Tian quickly snuffed out the cigarette in his hand and then moved sideways to hide under the shadow of a tree. The thin and slender figure walked to a trash can 7 or 8 steps away from him and threw a black garbage bag into it. Under the dim light of the night, one could vaguely see that the girl's thin body had become even thinner. Her face was pale and weak, as if a gust of wind could blow her away. Sister Tianxin, why did you come out? Leave the trash to me. Ning Shi chased after her and carefully supported Ning Tianxin. I'm not that weak. It's just a few steps. Ning Tianxin sounded a bit helpless. That won't do. Annie said you have to rest for a few days. After the girl went into the house, Mo Ling Tian slowly walked out from the shadow of the tree after a long time. He had been quietly watching nearby for 3 days and 3 nights. Finally, he saw her, but when he really saw her, his first reaction was to hide. Ha! Ning Shi was right. So what if he saw her? He knew he was too ashamed to see her, but he couldn't control himself. These days, no matter where he stayed, he was full of anxiety. He was exhausted, but couldn't sleep for even a minute. He only felt better when he was closer to her. Chapter 1401. In a 9-cloud film studio. In a sea of green bamboos, 2 figures, one in green and the other in red, were fighting fiercely. They cooperated well with each other, and their moves were as smooth as flowing water, dazzling the onlookers. But if you look closely, you would see that the girl's expression was a bit erratic. A few minutes later, cut. Ningxi, you did well just now, but you can do better. Let's take a break for 10 minutes and try again later. Guo Qixing said. Okay. Ningxi nodded, wiped her sweat, and returned to the rest area. Jiang Mai threw the prop sword to his assistant, sat down on the bench next to Ningxi, and glanced at her discontentedly. Ning Xiaoxi, what do you mean? Are you looking down on me or something? Can't you be more careful? You're almost out of the 6th ring road. What on earth are you thinking? Ningxi took the mineral water from Xiaodao, raised her head, and took a sip. I wonder if it's too late for me to stop now. Jiang Mai's face darkened. What's wrong with you? Ningxi opened the script, looked at the schedule, and looked at the last scene of the day. Setting, Poison Hall characters. Yin Huang, Yin Sitian. I feel like I'm going to die in this movie. Ningxi sighed. You're going to die in this movie. Jiang Mai was puzzled. Don't talk to me. Thank you. I want to be alone. Jiang Mai followed her gaze and looked at the script in her hands. Your last scene today is with the investor who will be a guest star? Speaking of this, Jiang Mai seemed to have thought of something. He stared at her speechlessly and said, I say, this investor, is he related to you again? Ningxi's face darkened. Young man, didn't I tell you not to talk to me? Jiang Mai, holy shit, is he related to you? Damn. Jiang Mai was shocked for a long time before he came to his senses. The blue veins on his forehead bulged. Ning Xiaoxi, you're good. That's what you get. Look at you now. I've finally played myself to death. Jiang Mai counted with his fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fuck. A table of mahjong. Another 3, and you'll be able to summon a dragon god. Ningxi's face darkened, and she rested her chin on her hand. Damn it. I didn't want to, okay? Who would have thought that one day, all these people would be gathered together in one show? She would be devastated too, okay? What was even more devastating was, damn, even his wife was going to make a cameo appearance. There were still a lot of scenes later on that were all piled up together. She had always wanted to shoot a particularly thrilling movie. Now, it was really fucking thrilling. Jiang Mai stared at her speechlessly. What's going on with this one? Did you dump her again after torturing her? Don't blame me for not reminding you that Cloud Depth's background isn't simple. You're practically courting death. Ningxi rolled her eyes at him. Do you think I have the guts? His situation is different from yours and Xianxia's. Hearing this, Jiang Mai's expression suddenly changed. He looked at her meaningfully. His situation is different from ours? So you're sincere about this? Ningxi scratched her hair impatiently. It's a long story. Anyway, this is the trickiest one. Get ready, everyone. Let's do it again. Hearing Guo Qixing shout, Jiang Mai had no choice but to put away his doubts. Chapter 1402. After several reshoots, the scene was finally completed smoothly. Ningxi sat on the chair and began to wait for the last death scene to come. After her scene with Jiang Mai, it was time for Meng Shi and Jiang Mai. Meng Shi was obviously a veteran in fighting scenes. She shot all 3 scenes in one take, which won everyone's applause. Sister Shi is so awesome. She's indeed a capable actress. She did all of them in one take. I heard that, Ning. She was also famous when she shot the world in one take. Maybe she's just bragging? Although her acting skills are not bad, she is obviously not on the same level as Sister Shi. Okay? After she was done, Meng Shi's expression was arrogant, and she looked over at Ningxi with a face full of mockery. Ningxi was so upset that she was not in the mood to pay attention to Meng Shi. Finally, it was time for the last scene, but a certain big shot had not arrived yet. Guo Qixing looked at the watch on his wrist. Ahem, let's wait a little longer. The rich man was the boss. It was just a little while. Of course, no one had any objection. On the contrary, because they knew that the legendary rich boss Yin was coming to make a guest appearance, everyone was extremely excited. Meng Shi's scene was over, but she had no intention of leaving. She was still sitting there, touching up her makeup and looking at the door from time to time. Ningxi had already changed into the makeup and costume for this scene. She supported her head with one hand and tapped the armrest of the chair with the other hand. Her eyes were rolling. Well, Maybe that guy just mentioned it casually and would not come at all? Annie said that he had been very busy after returning to China and was always elusive. He couldn't have come to do such a boring thing just to mess with her, right? The more Ningxi thought about it, the more she felt it was possible. Boss Yun, you are finally here. Just as she was thinking about this, she heard Guo Qixing's excited voice. Then she saw the director, producer, and a large group of the main cast and crew all surrounding the door. Looking at that familiar, arrogant white hair, she was speechless. He actually came. How boring was he? Seeing this guy appear in a place like this made her feel extremely unreal. The man's appearance was extremely handsome. Not only did the shallow scar on his brow not affect his appearance in the slightest, but also added a dangerous and flirtatious aura to him. That incomparably unique temperament was completely different from those little fresh meats that were copied and pasted from the entertainment circle. It was as if he was a creature that lived in the dark and had accidentally arrived at the clear sky that did not belong to him. Big Brother Yun. Seeing who it was, Mengxi immediately picked up her skirt and jogged over. Just a second ago, she was a dignified and steady movie queen, but now she was like a little girl. Hearing Mengxi's intimate way of addressing him, all the actors and crew members on set whispered to each other with shocked expressions. Damn, Mengxi actually knows President Yin? Mengxi's background is so deep, it wouldn't be strange for her to know someone like that, right? I've heard that the two families seem to be friends for generations. The female artists who have been eyeing Yunshin just now were suddenly disappointed. It was not easy to get a piece of fat meat, but it had already been targeted by an eagle. Mengxi wasn't someone to be trifled with. This time, they had no hope at all. Chapter 1403. Mengxi jogged over to the man, but before she could take more than a few steps, she was firmly separated by two bodyguards dressed in black, their faces filled with murderous intent. Brother Yun. Mengxi stomped her feet, looking aggrieved. Yun Shun's light gray eyes swept over Mengxi's face like a gust of wind sweeping through a speck of dust. He then turned to Guo Qixing and asked slowly, Director Guo, I'm playing the role of the brother? Guo Qixing was stunned at first, then he looked embarrassed. No, President Yun, your role remains the same. It's still the one you chose before, Yin Huang's father, not the brother. As soon as this conversation came out, the onlookers burst into laughter one after another. It turned out that he didn't even know her. Mengxi's eyes widened. She didn't expect Yun Shun to not give her face in front of everyone. Damn it. He knew who she was, but he still dared to treat her like this. Can we begin? Of course, President Yun, please follow me. The makeup artist and stylist have been arranged. Guo Qixing didn't expect the big boss to be so proactive, so he led the way enthusiastically. The white-haired man followed behind Guo Qixing unhurriedly. When he passed by Ningxi, he glanced at her from the corner of his eye and mouthed, My good daughter, wait for me. Ningxi was speechless. Wait my ass, I'm your father. Soon, the man came out in his costume. The moment Yunshin came out in his costume, the entire set was in an uproar. Yunshin's character in the movie also had silver hair. The man was dressed in a black ancient costume with a dragon belt around his waist. His long silver hair and makeup made him look even more flirtatious. His light gray eyes made people's hearts palpitate when they looked at him. Because Yun Sitian cultivated an evil technique, his body wouldn't age, so Yun Shun didn't need to deliberately pretend to be old. Ow. Oh my god, are you sure President Yun is playing the female lead's father? I'm breaking down. I actually fell in love with the female lead's father. He's definitely the most handsome father in history. He stole the male lead's thunder. If I had such a devilish father, I wouldn't need the male lead. Guo Qixing was pleasantly surprised and satisfied as he watched from the side. He was just an investor who had used his connections to get in, but he could become one of the biggest highlights of the show. How could he not be happy? He just didn't know how good his acting was. Well, with Ningxi leading him, there would definitely be no problem. Ningxi, get ready. We can start now. Guo Qixing was still worried, so he specially told Ningxi to take good care of the newlyweds. Ningxi braced herself and agreed. All departments got ready, and the shooting began. This scene was very simple. The female lead and the male lead were very close recently. When the female lead's father found out, he flew into a rage. 3, 2, 1, start. In the dark hall, a devilishly handsome man lazily reclined on a chair. The armrests on both sides of the chair were carved in the shape of 2 coiling pythons. The man's slender white fingers casually rested on the pythons' bodies, giving off a strange sense of beauty that was shocking to the eye. After listening to his subordinate's report on his daughter Yun Huang's recent movements, the man should have been furious. However, Yun Shen's expression was calm, as if nothing had happened. Guo Qixing frowned slightly, but he didn't shout cut. Instead, he continued to watch. Just then, footsteps came from outside the hall, and Ningxi, dressed in a blazing red dress, appeared. Chapter 1404. Seeing the person who had arrived, the man narrowed his eyes like a resting beast and spoke lazily. "You're finally willing to come back?" Ningxi lifted her clothes with a swish and half knelt in salute. Then she lowered her head and said respectfully, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. She buried her head. The word father was stuck in her throat. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't say it. Cut. Finally, Guo Qixing saw that something was wrong and called for a cut. "Sorry, I was distracted." Ningxi pinched her eyebrows. It's fine. Let's do it again." Guo Qixing was a little surprised. He didn't expect Ningxi to take the first NG. Did Ningxi do it on purpose to ease the pressure on this important minor character? In the hall, the white-haired man's eyes fell on the girl hiding in the corner, who was taking deep breaths to calm herself down. His eyes flashed with a smile. Soon, the filming began again. Yun Sitian, finally willing to come back. This time, Ningxi walked over with her head down and kneeled in salute. She didn't even look at the bastard in the hall in case she couldn't call him out. This trick worked. Ningxi buried her head and was about to speak when the man suddenly interrupted her. "Raise your head and look at your father." Ningxi, fuck. This guy actually changed his lines. However, Guo Qixing didn't call for a cut, so she continued. After all, TV dramas weren't as strict as movies, so it was normal to make slight changes during the performance. Ningxi was forced to raise her head and look at the face that she wanted to rush up and kill her father. She was once again stuck. Huffed. Ningxi suddenly sneered. "Director Guo, is this what you call a professional, dedicated actor? A potential actor who won't let me down even if he's acting with me? She's an A-lister after all. All she did was change her lines a little, but she doesn't even have the ability to improvise. How could someone like this be considered an actor in Director Guo's eyes?" Guo Qixing looked embarrassed. He was also dumbfounded. This had never happened in the last scene. What was wrong with Ningxi? It was just a simple one-word line, but she actually took 2 NGs in a row. This was too strange. The other staff members around them were also whispering to each other. Sure enough, idols can't be compared to actual people. Aren't all vases that rely on their looks to climb to the top like this? What's so strange about it? It was okay in a movie, but I didn't expect it to be so bad in real life. Did he eat a lot of NGs in private? Not far away, Jiama was no less surprised than Guo Qixing. The only person he knew who could affect Ningxi to this extent was Lu Tingxiao. The last time Ningxi took an NG was when they were kissing in the world. Because Lu Tingxiao was there, she took several shots. How could Ningxi's ex-boyfriend have such a great influence on her? At the same time, Xianxia, who had been secretly observing, was confused again. Judging from Ningxi's strange behavior, this newly appeared Cloud Depths seemed to be quite suspicious. Damn it, who was this woman's boyfriend? It was so confusing. "President Yun, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Ningxi must be too excited to see you." Guo Qixing hurried over to apologize to Cloud Depths. However, the man not only didn't show any anger, but also looked good-tempered and in a good mood. He looked at Ningxi with a smile and said, "It doesn't matter. Director Guo, take a break for 10 minutes. I'll practice with Xiaoxi in private and let her practice a few more times. Chapter 1405. When Ningxi heard this, she was so angry that she almost vomited blood. And that guy actually came looking for her with the script in a serious manner. Ningxi lowered her voice, and her eyes were full of murderous intent. Yun, what do you want? The man looked at her with his chin in his hand. Where's my biscuit? Ningxi glared at him. What do I have to do to make you leave the crew? Hearing this, the man revealed a thoughtful expression, while Ningxi nervously waited for his reply. The man pondered for a long time, and then finally said, Well, I like to eat sweeter things. Add more sugar. Ningxi used all her rationality to restrain the urge to grab his collar and choke him to death. I'll add arsenic to it. Looking at Yunshun and Ning, she not far away, Mengshi suddenly realized something. This bitch, she's not pretending to be Ying to get close to Brother Yin, is she? The assistant leaned in and echoed. I think so, but she doesn't need to pretend to be good at acting. What has she been shooting these days? She can't even compare to Sister Shi's little finger. I really don't know why all the directors who have worked with her are full of praise for her. There's probably something fishy going on. I think even Mr. Yin seems to have been seduced by that woman. Hearing this, Mengshi couldn't stand it anymore. She strode toward the two of them. In the end, just like before she could get close, she was separated by two cold-faced bodyguards. How dare you? Do you know who I am? Mengshi glared at the two of them. The two bodyguards were like emotionless humanoid weapons. They didn't react at all and continued to block Mengshi's way. You? Good. Very good. A trace of ruthlessness appeared on Mengshi's face. She turned around and strode away. 10 minutes later, the shooting continued. This time, Ningxi even used the psychological hypnosis that Dr. Smith had taught her to continue her performance. It was just a short scene, but it was more tiring than an intense martial arts scene. However, this tragedy was just the beginning. Soon, her sweetheart would also join the crew. Ning, she was about to drag her battered body home like a dead dog when her phone rang. The caller ID showed that it was Zhuang Rongwang. He was the one who had insisted on saving his number last time. Seeing Zhuang Rongwang's call, Ning, she was a little surprised. It seemed that she didn't expect that he would call her. Hello. Hey, Sister Shi. Are you done yet? Come and play. Zhuang Rongwang's excited voice came through the phone. What are you playing? Of course it's shooting. Same old place, come quickly. Have a match with me. I've been awesome recently. I feel like I'm about to surpass you, huh? The excited and enthusiastic voice of the young man on the other end of the phone slightly infected Ning, Shi's sad mood. Thinking that she was really in a bad state after being tortured during this period of time, it was good to relax, so she agreed. Young man, since you want to be abused, then I will satisfy you. Just wait. We'll be there soon. Meanwhile, at the Platinum Gold Palace, in the study of Lu Jingli's villa, Lu Jingli was dizzily analyzing all kinds of information from 5 years ago, investigating all the suspects that night. Chapter 1406. That night, Ning, she went to Su Yan's private room 713, but then there seemed to be an accident. She entered another private room, and the person she met was not the two male servants Ning Shuo had arranged, but a beast who was even worse than the two male servants. If it was a male servant, in their line of work, they would never make a woman pregnant. However, the man not only did not take any protection, but also ran away after eating. There was no trace of him. Later, he finally found out that Ning, she really entered private room 718, which was directly opposite 713 that night. Qin Yuan was a membership system, and all private rooms had to be booked in advance, and there was a detailed reservation record. Therefore, as long as he found out who booked the 718 private room that night, he could basically find out the murderer. However, how could it be so easy? Sure enough, after the investigation, he found that the reservation record of this private room that night 5 years ago had been erased, and he could not find any clues. In the next few days, Lu Jingli began to work hard to find out who had booked this private room that night. As a result, he spent several days and nights investigating, and even found a computer expert to try to restore the erased record, but he found nothing. Seeing that a week had passed, Lu Jingli had no choice but to report the progress of the investigation to Lu Tingxiao with two big panda eyes. Lu Jingli did not even change his clothes. He directly wore pajamas and slippers that he had not changed for several days, and ran next door to find his brother with the documents in his arms. Brother, I'm so sorry. I promised to help you find that beast within 7 days. But that guy is so cunning. He didn't leave any clues. No wonder CC couldn't find him after 5 years of investigation. I think that guy's modus operandi is definitely not a temporary evil intention, but a habitual offender. A lecher. Lu Jingli held a large pile of documents and complained with tears in his eyes. The handsome face that he was most proud of was now as haggard as a poor scholar who had been squeezed dry by a female ghost. It could be seen that in order to investigate this matter in the past few days, he had really suffered a lot. Lu Tingxiao was slightly surprised to see Lu Jingli's anxious look. Investigating information was Lu Jingli's forte, not to mention that Lu Tingxiao had given him the greatest convenience. Under such circumstances, even after 7 days, he still couldn't find out who the man was. Progress, Lu Tingxiao said coldly in front of a desk that was glowing with a cold luster. Lu Jingli quickly placed a pile of documents in front of Lu Tingxiao. I've locked onto the target, but I can't find out who he is. Qin Garden has the latest defense system imported from China. Even a top-notch hacker would not be able to erase all traces of himself without leaving a trace. Lu Tingxiao's eyes quickly scanned a date on the computer screen, as well as a room number. The moment he saw the date and room number, Lu Tingxiao's icy face, which had always been as cold as a mountain, instantly changed. Lu Jingli was so emotional that he did not notice it for a moment and continued to talk. Now I can be sure that the private room that little Cece entered that night was room 718. This room 718 is definitely the beast we are looking for, but I don't know who booked room 718. Brother, did you hear what I said? Chapter 1407. Lu Tingxiao raised his eyebrows slightly. His gaze, which was originally on the laptop, fell on Lu Jingli's face. The look in his eyes was extremely strange. Lu Jingli's heart skipped a beat when he saw that look. Brother, what's wrong? Lu Tingxiao's fingertips gently tapped on the date and the room number on the paper. Then, his low and hoarse voice rang out in the cold study. It's me. Lu Jingli scratched his head. Huh? What? Who are you? Lu Tingxiao's thin lips parted slightly as he slowly recited a string of dates and room numbers. The person who booked this room that night was me. As soon as his voice fell, Lu Jingli was completely stunned, as if he did not understand what Lu Tingxiao was saying. After a long time, he recovered and asked, Brother, what did you say? This room, you booked it? I also personally deleted the records that night, Lu Tingxiao continued. There was dead silence in the study. After a moment of sluggishness, Lu Jingli scrambled to Lu Tingxiao's desk and picked up the page of investigation information. He looked at the date and the room number again, especially the date. Then his eyes widened. In the end, his expression was as if he had been struck by lightning. He seemed to remember this. Isn't this the day I drugged you 5 years ago? What the hell, was he out of his mind? He did not remember at all. However, he really cannot be blamed. It was so many years ago, and he had been wholeheartedly investigating Xiao Cici's case. How could he have thought of this? Before this, he had been paying attention to the room number and did not care about the date at all. As for the room, 5 years ago, Qin Garden was a place they frequented. Every time they came, they did not have a fixed room, so he had no impression of the room number at all. It was not until the moment he heard his brother's words that he woke up from a dream. No wonder he could not find anything. His brother had personally erased the traces. How could he find anything? No one could find anything. Lu Jingli read the information over and over again. He looked like he was about to go crazy. 5 years ago, you and little Cece were at the same time in the same clubhouse. This is a goddamn coincidence. He said, you and little Cece were at the same time in the same clubhouse. Brother, did you remember wrongly? Lu Tingxiao's cold gaze swept over him. Do you think I remember wrongly? Lu Jingli was frightened by that cold gaze and immediately shook his head like a rattle drum. No, absolutely not. Lu Jingli clutched his head on the verge of breaking down. What the hell is going on? I'm going crazy. How could little Cece enter the box that you're in? That beast. At the mention of the word beast, Lu Jingli suddenly stopped talking. No, I must have made a mistake somewhere. Oh my God, who could tell him that he was dreaming? All of this was simply too frightening. However, the scariest part was yet to come. Lu Tingxiao turned to another page and said in an extremely depressed tone, the date of Ningxi's premature birth and the car accident was August 18th. Lu Jingli nodded repeatedly, not understanding why he suddenly cared about this. Yes, this is absolutely certain. Lu Tingxiao pinched between his eyebrows, and his expression was like a Category 12 storm on the sea. When did Xiaobao arrive at the Lu family? Chapter 1408. The moment he heard this question, Lu Jingli's face completely cracked, and he seemed to be in a daze. After a long time, he reflexively answered as if he had lost his soul. August 18th. August 18th. After receiving so much information all at once, Lu Jingli almost fainted from shock. Oh my God, 5 years ago, the place where he had drugged his brother and the place where Ningxi had been framed by Ning Shui were so coincidentally on the same day and in the same place. What was even more frightening was that the day Ningxi gave birth to the dead baby in a car accident was also the same day that Xiaobao was sent to the Lu family. What did this mean? He had been cursing the beast for so many days. Could it be? Lu Jingli simply did not dare to continue thinking about it. Continue to investigate. At this moment, Lu Tingxiao's face was also extremely ugly. It was so horrifying that Lu Jingli did not even have the courage to look at him. Yes. I will check again right away. I think I must have made a mistake. Little Cece definitely did not enter your private room that night. Lu Jingli's face was extremely bitter. Before he left, Lu Jingli somehow mustered up the courage to turn around and say with trembling legs, Bro, no matter how much I check, there might be some deviations. Even though you booked that private room, there might be other people who went in. Actually, there's another way that's definitely not wrong. That's the only way to figure everything out. Lu Tingxiao said, Shut up. Ouch. Lu Jingli was so frightened that he wailed and ran away. He had never seen Lu Tingxiao in such a terrifying manner. If he could think of a way, how could his brother not think of it? The best way to take drastic measures was to do a DNA test on Ningxi and Xiaobao, so that everything could be figured out. However, how could he dare to say it? He was almost scared to death, okay? That night, he had personally drugged Lu Tingxiao and was afraid that it would not be enough, so he had given him more than 3 times the amount. Lu Tingxiao's private room happened to be opposite room 713, and the number of private rooms 718 and 713 looked so similar. What if little Cece walked into the wrong room? What if she met his brother, who had been drugged by him and had completely lost his sanity and was only left with his instincts? Also, if everything was as he had speculated just now, then the child that little Cece was carrying was almost certainly her brother's. However, the child that little Cece gave birth to was clearly a stillborn baby. How could it be sent to the Lu family without little Cece knowing it herself? Lu Jingli felt that his brain was about to crash due to the high-speed operation. From Lu Tingxiao's words, he could tell how much Ningxi hated the man back then and how much that man had hurt little Cece. If the man who raped little Cece was really his brother, then the consequences, oh my God, he was dead for sure. No. But you can't think of it that way. If little Cece was little Bao's biological mother, then little Bao would be so happy. Does this count as his merits offsetting his demerits? In the study, Lu Jingli should be thankful that he ran quickly because almost as soon as he left, the atmosphere in the study suddenly dropped to zero. In front of the desk, the gloomy atmosphere around the man was terrifying to the extreme. No matter how Lu Tingxiao thought about it, he would never have imagined that the person he was investigating who had humiliated Ningxi back then would end up being himself. The person that he wanted to grind to ashes could actually be himself. All of this was simply like an incomparably absurd dream. Chapter 1409. Lu Tingxiao didn't know how long he stayed in the study. Suddenly, he stood up, put on his coat, took the car keys, and walked out the door. "Young master, are you going out? Prepare the car to pick up Xiao Bao." "Okay." At the school gate. It was school time, and the gate was unusually lively. Lively and cute children came out one after another to leave with their parents. Lu Tingxiao's usually meticulous collar was slightly messed up. At this moment, he was quietly leaning against the car door, lighting a cigarette in his hand. Deep in the depths of his eyes, there was a huge and dangerous whirlpool churning fiercely. Finally, a familiar little figure appeared at the school gate. Xiao Bao was carrying a small school bag and had a serious expression on his face. As usual, he waited for the butler to pick him up. However, when he looked up, he saw a familiar car and a familiar tall figure in front of it. The little fellow's eyes immediately lit up, and he quickly ran not far away. "Mommy!" Lu Tingxiao snuffed out the cigarette in his hand. "Your mommy didn't come." Xiao Bao's face was instantly filled with disappointment, and he went from a hot bun to a cold bun in almost a second. The black car drove slowly on the road, and the scenery outside the car window flashed past quickly behind it. Inside the car, one big and one small, neither said a word. Xiao Bao sat expressionlessly in the passenger seat, while Lu Tingxiao's slender fingers rested on the steering wheel. He was driving, and his deep eyes were sizing up the little fellow in the passenger seat through the rearview mirror. Xiao Bao's cold and expressionless little face looked very much like him, and his facial features were also a complete copy of him. No one would doubt that this little fellow was Lu Tingxiao's child. Even after so many years, there were always people in the family who questioned Xiao Bao's identity. But as long as they saw Xiao Bao once, all doubts would be dispelled. "Will Mommy come over tonight?" Xiao Bao asked. "I'll give her a call." Lu Tingxiao stared at the two words, "my love," in his phone's contact list for a long time, and finally dialed the number. "Hello, sweetheart." A girl's clear and melodious voice came from the other end of the phone. It was like warm, flowing water, instantly soothing his anxious heart that was almost unable to bear it. "Where are you?" "I just finished work. Zhuang Ronwang called me and asked me to go to the shooting range. I'm going to play a few rounds to relax. Can I bring Xiao Bao to see you? Xiao Bao misses you." "Of course, bring my good son here," Ningxi immediately said happily. Hearing Ningxi say "my son," Lu Tingxiao's mind was filled with a myriad of thoughts. "Okay, I'll be there in a moment. Are we going to Mommy's place?" Xiao Bao's little face immediately lit up. "Yeah," Lu Tingxiao nodded. Hearing this, the little fellow immediately pursed her lips and revealed a shallow and happy smile. Out of the corner of his eye, Lu Tingxiao inadvertently saw that the moment little Bao smiled, the expression between his brows was extremely similar to Ningxi's. Lu Tingxiao's expression froze for a moment. Ever since Ningxi had appeared and Lil Treasure began to smile more, he had discovered that when Lil Treasure smiled, his eyes and brows were completely different from his own. More than once, some people even said that Xiao Bao and Ningxi had been together for a long time, and even their appearances were somewhat similar, especially when they smiled. In the past, when he heard these words, he only felt that it was fate and never thought much about it. Now that he thought about it, from how Xiao Bao and Ningxi felt like old friends at first sight, from how Ningxi liked Xiao Bao to how much Xiao Bao liked her, everything was simply shocking. Chapter 1410. At the shooting range. In just a few months, Ningxi almost couldn't recognize Zhuang Rongguang when she saw him again. Not only did the young man's appearance and hairstyle change, but his entire spirit and appearance had also changed. At this moment, the young man was chatting with a few friends. Apart from the youthful vigor that was unique to a young man, there was also a hint of sharpness and determination. From the looks of it, he had really changed this time, and wasn't like before, where he had been slacking off for 3 days and drying the net for 2 days. At the moment, Ningxi was wearing her own brand's red, one-piece, tailor-made dress and silver diamond-studded high heels. She took off the sunglasses on her face, revealing an extremely beautiful and unrestrained face. Today was not a holiday. Usually, there were not many people at the shooting range at this time. Besides, even if she was a star, it was no big deal for her to come to the shooting range to play. There was no need to deliberately cover up. So Ningxi didn't bother to disguise herself. Even so, Ningxi's appearance still attracted the attention of the people along the way. But it was purely because of her beauty and aura, not because of her status as a star. Nowadays, Ningxi was more famous for men's clothes than women's clothes. She was more famous among the girls than the guys. Most of the people at the shooting range were men. So when Ningxi wore women's clothes, not everyone recognized her. Only a few fans recognized her. Wow, there's a beauty, a super beauty. No, where's the beauty? Isn't that the superstar Ningxi? Which Ningxi? She's the female lead who plays the Dream Seeker. She looks like this in women's clothes. Hey, why is the superstar here? I didn't expect such a beauty to like shooting. Zhuang Rongguang, who had been waiting for a long time, heard the discussion behind him and subconsciously looked in the direction of the door. The young man was stunned for a moment before he recognized the superstar beauty in front of him. He immediately waved excitedly and shouted, "Sister Shi here! Come here!" Zhuang Rongguang had made a lot of new friends recently. Seeing this scene, they all came up to tease him. Fuck! Photon, when did you get to know such a beautiful woman? And she's a superstar. Hurry up and introduce her to us. Don't tell me she's your new girl. Hearing the last sentence, Zhuang Rongguang's face turned red. He angrily elbowed the young man who spoke. What nonsense are you talking about? Didn't you hear me call her sister? She's my sister's best friend. His shooting skills were first-rate. She's the sharpshooter I told you about. Zhuang Rongguang, are you fucking kidding me? The godly sharpshooter you were bragging about was her? Are you kidding me? How is that possible? She's so pretty that she can shoot. I also thought that she was a tough woman. Ningxi heard the lively discussion of the group of people from afar and couldn't help but feel a little amused. Sister Shi, you finally came. Let these ignorant people have a good look. Zhuang Rongguang excitedly went forward. Ningxi picked up a gun and casually fired a few shots. It was enough for those teenagers' eyes to light up, and they all called her sister like Zhuang Rongguang. Looking at their dumbfounded expressions, Zhuang Rongguang felt even more pleased than if he had been praised. As more and more people came to watch, Zhuang Rongguang took Ningxi to another quiet shooting range to continue. Chapter 1411. Zhuang Liaoyuan was fishing with old Master Zhuang nearby. When he heard that Rongguang called Ningxi over to compete with him, both of them went over with interest. When they arrived, Zhuang Rongguang was happily bragging to Ningxi, Sister Shi, I finally learned your blindfolded shooting skill. Then he took out a piece of black cloth to cover his eyes, raised the gun, and aimed at the target opposite him. Bang, bang, bang. After 3 shots, the score quickly appeared on the scoreboard. 10 points, 10 points, 10 points. Ningxi raised her eyebrows. Not bad. Yes. Hearing Ningxi praise him, Zhuang Rongguang was so proud that his tail almost flew up to the sky. I told you I'm talented. I just didn't want to learn before. Why get serious? Even I'm afraid of myself. Brat, don't be complacent just because you have some achievements, Zhuang Liaoyuan said with a straight face. However, although he said it in a reprimanding tone, his eyes were full of pride and gratification. At the same time, He looked at Ning Shi with gratitude. Their brat could achieve what he had today, all because of this girl. Seeing Zhuang Zongren and Zhuang Liaoyuan, Ning Shi hurriedly greeted them and then smiled. Rongwang is really good to be able to achieve this in such a short time. Hearing this, Zhuang Rongwang became even more proud. See, even my sister Shi said so. Sister Shi, don't bother with them. Come on, let's continue. The two of them competed for a while. Suddenly, there was a baby calling from behind, Mommy. Hearing her baby's voice, Ningxi immediately put down the gun in her hand, turned around happily, and then hugged the little guy who was running towards her. Good boy. The little guy's body was fragrant and soft, and Ningxi didn't want to let go of him. Old Master Zhuang heard the mommy and looked at the little guy who was running towards Ningxi. He suddenly showed a surprised expression and looked at Zhuang Liaoyuan suspiciously. This child is, while talking, steady footsteps came from behind, and then a man in a suit and leather shoes, who looked very similar to the little bun in Ningxi's arms, walked over. After seeing Lu Tingxiao and hearing Zhuang Liaoyuan's reply, Zhuang Zongren immediately reacted. This is the grandson of the Lu family? Yes. When Zhuang Liaoyuan saw Lu Tingxiao, his expression immediately turned serious. They were just boyfriend and girlfriend. Ning, she hadn't even married yet. How could her son call her mother? Old Master Zhuang, Chief Zhuang. Lu Tingxiao greeted them. Then he called Xiaobao over. Call someone over. Xiaobao looked at Zhuang Liuan, then at Zhuang Zongren, and obediently said, Hello, Uncle Zhuang. Hello, Grandpa Zhuang. The little fellow was as cute as a white dough ball. Zhuang Liaoyuan's expression softened a lot as he nodded his head. Why did he feel that this little guy was different from the last time he saw him at Elder Lu's banquet? He seemed to be livelier. Zhuang Zongren, on the other hand, had a loving expression on his face. He stretched out his rough palm and rubbed the little fellow's head. Good boy. Maybe it was because he was old that he especially liked children. He liked this child very much at first sight. Chapter 14:12. Not far away, Zhuang Rongwang looked at Lu Tingxiao and Lu Tingxiao's little replica and curled his lips unhappily. Sister Shi, what kind of taste do you have? There's so many men out there. Why do you have a crush on Lu Tingxiao? Ningxi raised her eyebrows. Because he's handsome. Zhuang Rongwang choked. Looking at Lu Tingxiao's flawless face, he couldn't refute her, so he said, Why are you so shallow? His baby is already so big, okay? Ningxi, sorry, I like his baby the most. Zhuang Rongwang, what's there to like about a soft little bun without any manliness? Sister Shi, I think you're more suitable to be with our mighty and domineering soldier. When I join the army, I'll help you find someone 100 times more handsome than Lu Tingxiao and give birth to a baby with great genes. When he grows up, he'll be as domineering as you. Ningxi's cool and domineering image couldn't be erased from Zhuang Rongwang's mind. She was as brave, intelligent, persevering, upright, and powerful as the god of eagles, Hai Dongqing. How could his goddess be tied to an old rich family like Canary? It was heartbreaking. Ningxi's eyes were full of her baby's son. She had no time to care about Zhuang Rongwang, who kept nagging. She walked straight to Little Bun with a gentle look on her face. Seeing Little Bun staring at the gun in Zhuang Rongwang's hand with sparkling eyes, she bent down and asked with a smile, Baby, do you want to play? Little Baozi's eyes instantly widened. Mommy, can I? Ningxi immediately smiled. Of course. Hearing that Ningxi agreed to let Little Bun play with a gun, Lu Tingxiao, Zhuang Liaoyuan, and Zhuang Zongren didn't think there was any problem, especially Zhuang Liaoyuan and Zhuang Zongren. The Zhuang family was a military and political family. Zhuang Zongren's generation grew up in the flames of war. When Zhuang Rongwang could walk, Zhuang Liaoyuan began to give him a gun as a toy. When Zhuang Rongwang was 3 to 5 years old, Zhuang Liaoyuan often took him to places like shooting ranges and training grounds. Zhuang Rongwang had inherited the talents of his Zhuang family. He was gifted since he was young, and he loved firearms. Unfortunately, during that period of time, the political situation was chaotic, and the Zhuang family was in the eye of the storm. They were busy with all kinds of battles and neglected to discipline Zhuang Rongguang, causing him to miss the most important period of his growth. When they wanted to turn things around, they impatiently taught him too much, almost ruining a good seedling. Zhuang Rongguang looked at Ning Shi's gentle and doting expression and curled his lips in disdain. Sister Shi, be careful not to injure his little arm. Not everyone can touch a gun at the age of 3 and hit 10 rings at the age of 5 like me. Okay? What if I can get 10 points? At this moment, a childish yet inexplicably cold voice sounded from the side. Zhuang Rongguang immediately turned to look at Tiny Tot, who was speaking, with a funny expression on his face. Huh, little brat, you're so arrogant. Have you touched a gun before? Little bun, no. Zhuang Rongguang immediately said, How dare you talk nonsense if you haven't? If you can hit 10 rings, I'll call you daddy. As soon as he said that, Zhuang Liaoyuan immediately glared at him. Zhuang Rongguang touched his nose. Cough, cough, cough. Anyway, that's what I mean. If you can hit 10 rings, I'll do anything for you. Little Bun looked at him coldly and said expressionlessly, If I can hit 10 rings, you're not allowed to sow discord in front of my mother. Chapter 14:13. Fuck, why is this little guy's ears so good? He heard me even though I spoke so softly. Zhuang Rongguang's face turned hot. He straightened his neck and said, When did I sow discord? I'm telling the truth. Okay? Also, is she your mother? Why are you calling her that? She's my mother. Hearing this, little Bun clenched his fist. His face was cold like never before. It was obvious that he was really angry. Then he said word by word to the youth in front of him, If I get 10 points, you have to say she's my mother 100 times. Zhuang Rongguang glanced at him indifferently. I'll say it. I'm not afraid of you. Zhuang Liaoyuan looked at his son, who was already 18 years old, acting so childish and arguing with a 5-year-old child. He immediately said with a dark face, Rongguang, don't mess around. Zhuang Zongren's old face was also a little embarrassed. Brat, how old are you? You're still bullying a child. Don't you know shame? It's fine. Lu Tingxiao looked at the scene in front of him and didn't care. What did I do? You guys clearly saw that he provoked me. Zhuang Rongguang mumbled unhappily. I provoked you. If I can't do it, I'll apologize and call you brother 100 times. Come, 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 I'll wait for you to call me brother 100 times. Ningxi knew that little Bun wasn't the kind of willful child who would mess around. He was serious and really angry. Baby, do you really want to bet? Little Bun looked at Ning Shi as if he was looking at the most important treasure in the world. Mother, you're my mother. Ning Shi saw that little Bun was determined, so she chose a gun for him in the end. Seeing that the two children were just throwing a little tantrum, Lu Tingxiao didn't mind. Zhuang Liaoyuan and Zhuang Zongren didn't interfere either. Ning Shi chose a light pistol for little Bun. The recoil wasn't big, but it was enough for a 5-year-old child. It was even a problem for him to hold the gun steadily. It was also because the adults present were all professionals that they dared to let little Bun play like this. Baby, let's play happily. Mother is your mother. You don't have to prove it to anyone, okay? Ning, she comforted. Little Bun nodded obediently, but the light in his eyes was unusually bright. Come, Mommy will teach you how to hold a gun. Ning, she patiently taught little Bun how to hold a gun and how to aim. Zhuang Rongguang, who was at the side, interrupted, Hey, 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 how could you put your finger there? How could you do something so simple? I'm only 3 years old. Ning, she glared at him. Do you want me to spar with you for real? Zhuang Rongguang swallowed a mouthful of saliva and shook his head furiously. At the same time, he felt a little sour in his heart. The heck? Why is she acting like an old hen protecting her chick? Just what's so good about little soft Bun? She was just a little cuter, a little fairer, and a little cuter. Lu Tingxiao looked at Ning, she who was teaching Xiaobao patiently, and his son who was studying hard, and an imperceptible glimmer flashed across his eyes. 5 years old, 10 rings. If Ning Shi and Zhuang Rongguang didn't have super talents inherited from their families, it would be impossible for them to do it. The Liu family had been in business for generations, and their descendants had all received an ancient aristocratic education. It was obvious that they did not have much talent in these aspects. Chapter 14:14. Ning, she patiently taught little Bun. The mother and son were happy, and the atmosphere was warm. Zhuang Ronguang jumped up and down and made trouble from time to time. Baby, can you remember? Mom, I can. Little Bao nodded obediently. Okay, let's try. Control your breathing, 3 points and 1 line. Ning, she instructed. Little Bao held the gun in his hand and lifted it up. Because he was short, he aimed at the target not far away. Zhuang Liaoyuan, Zhuang Zongren, and Lu Tingxiao, who were talking, also looked at the little boy. Seeing little Bao's posture and strength, Zhuang Liaoyuan and Zhuang Zongren's eyes lit up. Zhuang Zongren was surprised. This little guy, I didn't know he had good wrist strength, Zhuang Liaoyuan nodded. His feet are steady too. Then he looked at Lu Tingxiao. It seemed that this child had undergone systematic training. Fortunately, he didn't become a bookworm because of the Liu family. Little Bao's physical fitness had improved so fast that he was miles ahead of his peers, so it wasn't difficult for him to hold the gun and shoot. Zhuang Ronguang was a little surprised to see the little boy holding the gun and aiming at the target, but he still snorted. What's the use of just showing off? As soon as he said that, there was a bang. Little Bao fired the first shot. Everyone subconsciously looked in the direction of the target. A moment later, the score popped up, 0 points. There was an eerie silence. Then Zhuang Ronguang held his stomach and burst into laughter. Haha, 0 points. He missed the target. He couldn't have missed the target even with his eyes closed. Haha. He actually bragged to me that he could hit 10 points. Oh, I'm dying of laughter. Ning, she glared at Zhuang Ronguang. It's little Bao's first time holding a gun. How can he hit 10 points? It's already amazing that he can shoot. Actually, Ning, she was right. This was a real gun. Most children wouldn't dare to touch it. Even if they dared, they wouldn't be able to control it. How could they just pick it up and shoot? At such a young age, it is indeed very good. Zhuang Liaoyuan and Zhuang Zongren also said. Who asked him to be so arrogant just now? Zhuang Ronguang snorted. His first shot missed, and he was ridiculed by Zhuang Ronguang, but Xiao Bao's expression didn't change in the slightest. Instead, the light in his eyes shone even brighter and more dazzling. Ning, she had never seen the little guy so excited, and her mood was also affected. She squatted down and said gently, Baby, is it fun? Little Bun's eyes lit up, and she nodded vigorously. Then let's continue playing. Ignore this childish guy. Ning, she glared at Zhuang Ronguang. Thus, little Bun raised his gun again. Pong, 3 rings. Not bad, not bad. He hit the target. Continue. Ning, she encouraged him. Bang, 4th ring. My baby is so powerful. I've improved again. Ning Shi's face was full of joy. The corners of Zhuang Ronguang's mouth twitched. Do you have to be so dramatic? He was beaten so badly, yet he praised him so much. If this young master was beaten like this, my father would have whipped me to death, okay? Ning Shi ignored him and continued to play with Little Bun. Little Bun was also completely immersed in the joy of shooting. Bang, 5th ring. Bang, 6th ring. Bang, 7th ring. Chapter 14:15. When 92 points appeared on the scoreboard, Zhuang Liaoyuan and Zhuang Zongren's eyes changed slightly, but Zhuang Ronguang was still disdainful. You're lucky, little boy. You actually got 92 points. But you can't get 10 points just by luck. As soon as he finished speaking, with a bang, he got 10 points. Bang, another 10 points. After 2 consecutive 10 points, Zhuang Ronguang almost bit his tongue and stammered, Little boy, you're really lucky. Just as he finished speaking, Xiao Bao hit the third 10 points with a bang. Zhuang Ronguang, 3 10 points? Isn't this luck too good? Bang, another 10 points, the fourth 10 points. Then, accompanied by the bang, 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 Each shot by Xiao Bao was a 10-point, not even a 9-point. Not only was Zhuang Rongguang dumbfounded, but Zhuang Liaoyuan and Zhuang Zhongren were also stunned. Even Ning, she was frightened by Xiao Bao. Just now, she was full of praise, but now she was shocked and didn't know what to say. Not only did Xiao Bao get 10 points, but after a short period of familiarity, he hit the bulls, like a sharpshooter. After a long time, Ning, she said in a daze, "What the hell? Lu Tingxiao, your son is amazing. His genes are too fucking awesome." Lu Tingxiao, "Honey, it doesn't seem to come from my genes at this moment." Looking at his son, who was getting more and more addicted to shooting, Lu Tingxiao's heart was extremely complicated. He was sure that no one in the Lu family, including himself, was good at shooting, and it was indeed Xiao Bao's first time touching a gun. Zhuang Rongguang's talent came from his biological parents, and Ning, she seemed to come from the Zhuang family's blood. Then what about Xiao Bao? Where did he come from? The idea that arose from Lu Jingli's investigation gradually germinated from a seed until it grew into a towering tree. After all, he was still young, and his wrist strength couldn't support him for too long. Ning, she was afraid that the little guy would hurt his hand, so she stopped him after a while. Little Bun touched the gun reluctantly, looking as if he hadn't had enough. Xiao Bao was not interested in anything. Ning, she was quite happy to see him like this. At the same time, she felt a sense of closeness in her heart. Because Xiao Bao was Lu Tingxiao's son, Zhuang Liaoyuan was a little prejudiced against him. But now, he didn't have any prejudice at all. He looked at the little guy with sparkling eyes, even more exaggerated than when he saw Ning Shi. This kid is too talented. He's even more talented than Glory. He might even surpass Ning Shi. Tears streamed down Zhuang Rongguang's cheeks. "Dad, I've already lost enough face. Don't say any more, okay? I'm going to call him Daddy." Only then did Little Bun remember the most important thing. She turned toward Zhuang Rongguang with a cold expression. "Don't forget your promise." Zhuang Rongguang couldn't possibly go back on his words after making a bet with a little brat. He could only bitterly say, "I promise I won't sow discord in the future. Also, Ningxi is your mother. Your mother. Your mother." Little Baozi's extremely serious and taut little face finally relaxed, revealing an extremely cute and satisfied smile. Zhuang Rongguang looked at the cute little Bun's smiling face and couldn't help but be stunned. Damn. Just now, why did he feel that this annoying little guy was quite cute? Chapter 14:16. Today, Ning, she had discovered that Little Bun was so talented in shooting. While she was pleasantly surprised, she couldn't help feeling a little jealous. Little Baozi's genes were so good that they were practically heaven-defying. His biological mother must also be an especially outstanding and powerful person. Zhuang Liaoyuan and Zhuang Zhongren had fallen in love with Little Bun after just a short meeting. For Little Bun's sake, they warmly invited the father and son to have dinner at their house. They were exceptionally warm to Little Bun, and the old master even wanted Little Bun to stay for a few days. Naturally, Lu Tingxiao declined. He left with his wife and child as soon as they finished their meal. It was not enough for the Zhuang family to snatch his wife away. Now, they even had their eyes on his son. Late at night, Platinum Palace. Ning, she left after coaxing Little Bun to sleep. She was going back to the villa and was about to say goodbye to Lu Tingxiao. However, she couldn't find him. Finally, she saw him under the shadowy rose vines in the small garden behind. The man was dressed in cotton and linen casual attire, sitting on a rattan chair under the flower rack. One arm was across the back of the chair, and the other hand was holding a lit cigarette. The red glow of the cigarette but flickered in the night. Ningxi frowned and walked over the soft grass. "Why are you here alone?" Hearing the girl's voice, the icicle around the man, which seemed to separate him from the rest of the world, shattered. He pinched the cigarette in his hand and looked up at the girl. "Come here." Ningxi walked over. As soon as she reached him, the man took her hand and let her sit on his lap. The man's embrace was warm, with a faint smell of tobacco, as well as a trace of aura that made Ningxi slightly uneasy. "What's wrong? Is there something on your mind?" Ningxi looked up and asked, "Do you like little bun?" Lu Tingxiao asked in the tranquil night. "Of course I do." She answered in confusion. She didn't understand why Lu Tingxiao would suddenly ask this. Was there need to ask this question? To prove herself, She continued, "Actually, I didn't like kids before I met little Bon. Well, it's not that I didn't like kids. I just didn't want to get close to kids until I met little Bon." Lu Tingxiao's heart sank when he heard Shi's words. That day in the wheat field of Spring Breeze Town, every word of She seemed to be ringing in his ears. The child died as soon as it was born. This is probably the only mercy the heavens have shown me. Otherwise, I really don't know how to face and treat this child. Lu Tingxiao subconsciously hugged the girl in his arms tightly. He leaned forward slightly, as if he was about to kiss her, but just as he was about to get close, he retreated. The girl's words appeared in his mind again. "That strange man was very scary. I am in pain, very much in pain, the pain of feeling like he was going to die. I had a high fever for a week and had to lie in bed for more than a month before I recovered. When I went to see the doctor, I still couldn't forget that shameful feeling later on. My fear of men followed me like a shadow. I hated and rejected contact with men. That one time 5 years ago was the only time I experienced it. Every single word was still ringing in his ears, burning his heart like a raging inferno. Half of it was heaven, and the other half was hell. Until now, he finally knew what it felt like for She to carry an unspeakable secret alone. Chapter 14:17. After an unknown period of time, Lu Tingxiao's pitch-black eyes surged with undercurrents and finally became deathly still. In the next second, the man's slender fingers covered the girl's fair and slender neck. A slightly cold kiss, with a heart full of strong emotions, landed on the corner of the girl's lips. She didn't know where Lu Tingxiao's uneasiness came from, so she could only respond to the man's kiss to make him feel at ease. Suddenly, She held her neck and screamed in pain. "What's wrong?" Lu Tingxiao asked nervously. "Ugh, I think something pricked me." She held her shoulder. Lu Tingxiao raised his hand and glanced at his cuff. "Sorry, there's a hole in the button on my shirt." Then he took out a handkerchief to cover She's bleeding wound and helped her stand up. "I'll take you upstairs to treat it." As Lu Tingxiao spoke, his face darkened and his expression became extremely ugly. She looked at his exaggerated expression as if she had lost a vat of blood. She smiled helplessly. "It's just a small injury. It's not a big deal." Lu Tingxiao's heart ached when he saw that the girl didn't seem to feel anything and didn't seem to be wary of him at all. In the bedroom upstairs, Lu Tingxiao carefully treated the girl's wound. If one looked closely, they would find that the wound was close to her shoulder, which could be covered by her collar, so it wouldn't affect her daily life and filming. "Lu Tingxiao, what's wrong with you today? You're absent-minded." She asked worriedly. Lu Tingxiao put away the medical kit and glanced at her. "I'm afraid that you'll dislike me for having a burden." Hearing this, She finally came to a realization. She put her arms around the man's neck and kissed his serious face. "Rongguang, you really care about what a kid says. I told you that I like Xiaobao the most. How could I dislike you because of this? Xiaobao is your cheat, your godly assistant. Okay?" The man kissed her forehead, as if comforted by her words. From the beginning to the end, she didn't suspect anything strange about Lu Tingxiao at all, because Ning Tianxin and Annie were still at Peach Blossom Cove. She was worried, so she rushed back at night. After the girl left, Lu Tingxiao stared at the bloody handkerchief for a long time without looking away. Suddenly, his phone rang. It was Lu Jingli's call. "Brother, are you asleep? Come here." "Oh, I'll be right there." Within a few minutes, Lu Jingli had already rushed over from next door. Seeing how cold his brother was, Lu Jingli did not dare to get too close. He weakly reported from a distance, "Brother, I checked again. Little Cece really went into your private room that night. But when did she go in? Did she go in after you left? Did anyone else go in after you left?" "I'm really not sure." Before Lu Jingli could finish, Lu Tingxiao suddenly released his palm and handed him something. Puzzled, Lu Jingli walked forward and subconsciously took the handkerchief from his brother. Ahem, what's this? Are you here to wipe my sweat? Lu Jingli was puzzled. He looked at the handkerchief and realized that there was blood on it. His eyes widened and he stammered, This blood is, could it be Lu Xiaoxi's? Chapter 14:18. Sure enough, his brother had finally decided to do a DNA test. He should have done it a long time ago. He almost vomited blood because of the test. Sob, sob, sob. Brother, how did you get the blood? Will it arouse CC's suspicion? The situation is so complicated. What if? Lu Tingxiao interrupted Lu Jingli's nagging. Honey trap. Well, since he had used this trick, there was no way she would suspect anything. What about Xiaobao's blood sample? Lu Jingli asked again. Tomorrow, Xiaobao's school will arrange a group physical examination, Lu Tingxiao said. Oh, that's all right. Lu Jingli nodded and carefully held the bloody handkerchief with trembling hands. It was not convenient to collect other samples. Hair could also be used, but it had to have hair follicles. The hair follicles of children who were too young were not fully developed, so there would be some deviation during the test. The most accurate sample was still blood. If blood was used for the test, it would definitely be foolproof. Oh, damn it. He was so nervous. His heart was about to jump out of his chest. The worst thing was that he had to keep such a big secret to himself. He didn't know if he would suffocate to death. It turned out that knowing too much about gossip was also a kind of sadness. Soon after, the day that Ning she was most worried about finally came. Her sweetheart had joined the crew. Moreover, today's scenes were quite exciting. There were scenes for the male lead, the second male lead, the female lead's father, and the female lead's hidden guard. Jiang Mai, Imo Chunxiu, and Yunshun were likely to meet her sweetheart. What did this mean? It meant that a table of mahjong was ready. However, when she got out of the car and saw the devil who had disguised himself as Mingyu, she was quite happy and temporarily put all her worries behind her. There was no one around in the parking lot. So Ning, she happily jumped to the man. Kiki. The man's face was unrecognizable and expressionless, but the moment he saw the girl, his eyes were so gentle that they seemed to be able to melt people. He opened his arms slightly and hugged the girl who threw herself at him. Have you had breakfast? Yes, I have. Are you busy? Can you come to the crew? In fact, Ning she really wanted to tell him to stop acting if he was too busy. However, she was reluctant to give up this rare opportunity to interact with the Demon King. Sigh, if it weren't for those mahjong partners, she and the Demon King could have a private date in Rio with this movie. It's okay. It's been arranged. Lu Tingxiao gently stroked the girl's hair. All right, let's go to the set. I don't want to. I want to hug you some more. Ning, she refused to let go. It was really too annoying. She needed to hug his sweetheart for a while to recharge her batteries. The man curled his lips, and there was a hint of helplessness and indulgence between his brows. Be careful not to be photographed. I've already looked around. There's no one here. Ning she still didn't let go. Yes, Ning she was right. There was no one around, but sure Xiao had come with her today. At this moment, he was standing not far behind her. He was so shocked that he had turned into a rock. Fuck. What the hell did he see? The lady boss. The lady boss was hugging a male actor and wouldn't let go. Now he was also a loyal fan of the lady boss. If he was not mistaken, that man was the second male lead, Mingyu, who had worked with the lady boss in the last movie. Chapter 14:19. How could the lady boss get together with that mediocre-looking, mediocre, and even more mediocre, unknown artist? And in such a delicate way? Wasn't the boss's wife obsessed with good looks? Even if she was looking for a gigolo, she shouldn't look like this. Babano. That was not the point. The point was that the boss's wife had cheated on him. What kind of shocking secret did he know? Sure, Xiao was about to go crazy. However, there was something even crazier. How could Lu Tingxiao stand the girl's coquettish behavior? He immediately bent down and kissed the girl's lips. Good girl, I'll accompany you tonight. Seeing that the wild man kissed the boss's wife, Xiao, who had turned into a stone, was instantly crushed into powder. Perhaps because he was too shocked, he actually forgot to chase after them. Instead, he just watched as the two of them left. Damn it! What should he do now? Tell the boss. How could he survive if he knew that the boss had been cuckolded? Beat the gigolo away? What if he ran away and another one came? Ningxi's mind was full of the mahjong table at this moment. How could she notice Xiao, who was almost tangled up like a fried dough twist? In addition, Kumingyu was the devil in her heart, so she subconsciously didn't mean to avoid Xiao, so she didn't think of this at all. As for Lu Tingxiao, he only had his wife in his eyes. On the way to the set, Ningxi thought for a while and decided to tell Lu Tingxiao in advance. Sweetheart, our crew may be a bit complicated. In fact, I didn't need to worry about them. Suyin didn't come here often. She was sure that she could handle Xianxia. Any one of them could handle it alone, but it would be difficult to handle them all together, not to mention that there was also that troublemaker. She was afraid that he would make trouble. The only good thing was that they didn't know that Kumingyu was Lu Tingxiao. Well, the boss of Elan Ventures is the biggest investor of this show, and he played my father. Ningxi bit the bullet and said to Lu Tingxiao. As for who the boss of Elan Ventures was, Lu Tingxiao must know. A dark gleam flashed across Lu Tingxiao's eyes. Yes, I know. Oh, didn't you say that there was some conflict between the two of you? But he doesn't know that you're Lu Tingxiao. There shouldn't be any trouble. Don't worry, just focus on acting. Yes, yes. After informing Lu Tingxiao, Ningxi looked at his reassuring side profile and felt a lot more at ease. They were walking in the direction of the crew when they unexpectedly bumped into a person. Ningxi was so scared that she almost had a heart attack. As always, the man stared at the arrogant white hair, followed by two cold-faced bodyguards in black. Seeing Ningxi, the man lazily took off the sunglasses on his face and curled up the corner of his lips. His gaze seemed to be able to pierce through the soul, sweeping over Ningxi and Kumingyu beside her. On the other hand, Lu Tingxiao's expression didn't change in the slightest. Seeing that the guy kept looking at Lu Tingxiao, Ningxi's heart almost jumped out of her throat. She hurriedly interrupted this strange atmosphere. President Yun, isn't your scene in the afternoon? Why are you here so early? The man withdrew his gaze from Kumingyu, smiled, and looked at Ningxi. Honey, because I miss you. Ningxi, Yin Shen damn you. Chapter 1420. Ah, by the way, the man leaned closer. Darling, don't forget your promise to me. I want it tonight. Ningxi? Fuck, he had only promised to make some biscuits. Did he have to be so flirtatious? The fire in Ningxi's eyes burned fiercely. She really wanted to burn this bastard in front of her to death. The culprit turned around and left just like that. Before he left, he glanced at Kumingyu from the corner of his eyes. After Yinshin left, Ningxi turned around and explained to the devil behind her, Sweetheart, don't listen to his nonsense. I asked Danny for help last time and was forced to agree to one of his conditions. This pervert wanted to make things difficult for me and asked me to make 9,999 handmade biscuits for him. I was in a hurry to get Annie to treat Sister Tianxin, so I agreed. She was most worried about this guy, but she hadn't expected disaster to come so quickly. She had only been a little girl, and she had almost been tricked by this guy. She felt a headache coming on. This lunatic loves to play tricks on people. Don't believe a single word he says. You can only trust me, okay? She couldn't help but mutter to herself. Was that guy just teasing her? Or had he seen through Kumingyu's real identity and said that in front of him on purpose? It couldn't be. Back then, even she hadn't recognized Lu Tingxiao immediately. She must be overthinking. Lu Tingxiao's eyes dimmed as he watched the girl explain to him nervously and make tough demands. Of course I believe you. He wouldn't be provoked by the other party's childish tricks, but he couldn't help but be concerned that that man was appearing more and more frequently around Ningxi. From giving her the crown at the charity banquet to helping her out at the cocktail party, and now he was following her to the set. Yet this girl in front of him was so innocent that she didn't realize it at all. She didn't know that the man was actually wooing her. Thinking of this, Lu Tingxiao's brows were immediately covered in a layer of haze. If that man really came for her and did everything he could to win her back, would Ningxi reconcile with him? Sweetheart, what are you thinking about? Seeing Lu Tingxiao in a daze, Ningxi waved her hand in front of his eyes. Lu Tingxiao snapped back to reality. Nothing. What about your biscuits? Do you need help? Seeing that Lu Tingxiao didn't seem to care, Ningxi finally breathed a sigh of relief and said confidently, No, it's easy. I can handle it myself. After Ningxi and Lu Tingxiao left, a man slowly walked out from behind the pillar behind them. Mengxi stood there, her face filled with anger and surprise. She was angry that Yinshan had indeed been seduced by Ningxi, the vixen, and said such intimate and ambiguous words to her. She was surprised that she didn't expect that Ningxi would sleep with a third-rate male actor, and even seemed to be very nervous and infatuated with this male actor. She tried to cut off her relationship with Yinshan. It seemed that she loved him very much and didn't pretend to love him. Mengxi's eyes showed a trace of confusion. Was this Ningxi stupid? Why would a man like Yinshan fall in love with a male artist who has nothing? Of course, none of this was important. What was important was that Yinshan really liked that vixen. Chapter 1421. The dressing room and resting area of the leading and supporting actors were not the same. Ningxi and Lu Tingxiao went to the dressing room separately after arriving at the set. As soon as they entered the dressing room, they didn't see the makeup artist or the assistant. Instead, they saw Jiangmai sitting in front of the dressing table with his legs crossed and humming a song. As soon as he saw Ningxi, he immediately took off his headphones and flew over. Ningxi, how is it going? Is my uncle here today? Jiangmai said as he looked outside, as if he wanted to see the world in chaos. Ha! This is a fucking scuffle. Will there be a fight later? Ningxi sat down on the chair and pinched her eyebrows. I don't want to see my ex-boyfriend now, not even a hair of his. If you continue to wander in front of me, if I do something to you later. Before Ningxi finished her words, with a whoosh, Jiangmai immediately disappeared without a trace. It could be said that he was very tactful. He had seen Ningxi's violence many times when she was in a bad mood. After a while, the makeup artist and Xiao Tao came back with clothes and wigs. Ningxi cheered up and began to change clothes and put on makeup. After putting on makeup, Ningxi went out and looked for her sweetheart as soon as possible, as well as to observe the enemy. She saw that Lu Tingxiao had changed into a black suit from head to toe and was sitting in an inconspicuous corner, holding a script in his hand. If she didn't deliberately look for him, the man's existence was almost zero, and he wouldn't attract anyone's attention. As for the other guy, sitting on a spacious and luxurious leather recliner with a huge parasol over his head, Yinshan was surrounded by many stars, and almost everyone was talking to him. After being warned by her, Jiangmai was obediently sitting in his resting seat, pretending to read the script. Mo Chinchio's scenes today were later, and he hadn't arrived yet. Ningxi also tried to reduce her existence, trying to get through today safely, but it was obviously impossible. Just as she was about to walk towards her chair, she heard someone calling out to her lazily. Huang. Ningxi wanted to pretend not to hear it, but the annoying guy called her again. Huang. Come here. Unfortunately, Yinshan was the biggest investor in their drama. The director had already told them to take it easy and go along with it. On the surface, she had to endure it. She had to bite the bullet and walk over. President Yin, what can I do for you? The man tilted his head and looked at the girl's bitter expression with a smile that was not a smile. He gestured with his eyes to sit next to her and said unhurriedly, Little Huang, let's act together in case you NG again later. Father will feel sorry for you. Ningxi, are you addicted to acting? However, at this moment, the man had changed into a costume and put on makeup. He looked exactly like Yun Sitian in the play. When he said those words in such an image, The female artists and staff next to him exclaimed with excitement. Ow, ow. I'm so jealous. I also wish I had a father like President Yun. If I had such a handsome father, I wouldn't marry. President Yun is simply the father of the nation. Ning, she was speechless. What the hell did it mean by national daddy? Chapter 1422. During the whole day's shooting, Ning, she had to watch out for this and that. She was so exhausted that she made frequent mistakes during the shooting process. She even accidentally hit Jiang Mai's hand during the fight scene. Jiang Mai covered his hand and carefully rubbed it against her hand, looking aggrieved. I'm so obedient. Why did you hit me? What did I do to you? Ning, she looked at him speechlessly. His hand seemed to be about to break. What are you howling for? It's just a mistake. Why are you howling like this? Are you a man? I'll pull it back for you, okay? Then she stretched out her hand. As a result, you set me up. You want to set me up again. My uncle is here. I'm courting death if I dare to hit you. Jiang Mai looked as if he had seen through her trick and hid away angrily. Ning, she helplessly held her forehead. It was getting more and more chaotic. Not far away, Mengshi had been stopped by Yunshin's 2 bodyguards for the umpteenth time. No matter how hard or soft she tried, it didn't work at all. Although Yunshin kept calling Ning Shi Huang and Little Huang and often asked her to act with him, the rest of the crew, including the director, didn't dare to get too close to him. Because as long as they were within 3 steps of him, the 2 bodyguards would stare at them as if they were going to kill them. The strange thing was, for some reason, it seemed that Ning Shi was the only exception. Guo Qixing deliberately observed them several times and found that the 2 bodyguards were extremely guarded against everyone. But when Ning Shi approached them, they were obviously very relaxed. What's wrong, Little Huang? Are you in a bad mood? Yunshin leisurely walked to Ning Shi, holding a delicate and beautiful box of ice cream in his slender white hand. I heard that sweets can make people feel better. Ning Shi rubbed the goosebumps on her body, looked at him strangely, and lowered her voice. What the hell is wrong with you? This guy had been very strange all day. He was so gentle that she was horrified. The man chuckled as if he didn't hear her words. His tone became more gentle. Do you want me to feed you? Ning Shi subconsciously glanced at Lu Tingxiao, gritted her teeth, and put on an impeccable smile. Thank you, President Yunshin, but I'm really sorry. I'm on a diet. Isn't it better to be a little fatter? The man looked at her with a smile in his eyes. If you're a little fatter, I'll like you more. Ning Shi. Holy shit. Such intelligent flirting words actually came out of this guy's mouth. What on earth had provoked this guy? Although the surrounding people were far away and didn't know the content of their conversation, they all looked envious when they saw Yunshin's special care and intimacy towards Ning Shi. Even though the 2 of them had the most scenes in the movie and were playing father and daughter, President Yun's attitude towards Ning Shi was still a little too good. These past few days, Meng Shi had racked her brains to get closer to him, but to no avail. It seemed like the rumors of the boss being Ning Shi's fan were true. His luck was too good. With such an amazing fan, it was no wonder that someone like President Yun would take the time to play a small role, spending 300 million to buy a walk-on. Chapter 1423. Sister Shi, are you okay? Meng Shi's little assistant asked timidly, because Meng Shi's expression was too scary. That damn bitch, how dare she steal my man? Does she really think I won't touch her just because she has Lu Group behind her? Meng Shi's face was filled with terrifying anger. The little assistant echoed, yes, yes, yes. There's no one in the entertainment industry that you need to give face to, Sister Shi. This woman doesn't take face when you give her face. She should be taught a lesson. If President Meng finds out, she'll be in trouble. Meng Shi snorted coldly. Do I need to rely on my daddy to deal with someone like her? The little assistant agreed without hesitation. Of course not. Sister Shi, you can kill her with your acting skills. Next scene, Ning Shi, get ready. Guo Qixing shouted from the side. Soon, the filming began. 2 figures, one red and one white, stood facing each other. Two completely different types of great beauties appeared in the scene at the same time. It was undoubtedly a feast for the eyes. Meng Shi looked at Ning Shi opposite her, and a strange light flashed in her eyes. She had been observing her for a few days. Originally, she thought that Ning Shi must have some skill to make Guqixing and Shun Mian praise her acting skills so much. She didn't think that she was just SOSO. She was just a flower vase that was slightly better. Today, she was going to make a fool of her in front of everyone. With Ning Shi's little skill, it would be easy for her to purposely suppress her acting skills. Meng Shi was full of confidence. In reality, the situation was easier than she thought. She just showed off her acting skills a little, and Ning Shi actually NG'd 3 times in a row. In the end, it took a total of 12 takes to finish the scene. Although Ning Shi's condition wasn't good recently, she had never done more than 5 NGs. This was the first time she had done so many NGs in a row. Meng Shi thought that she suppressed Ning Shi's acting skills, but in reality, Ning Shi was just scared by a certain demon's too strange behavior. In the corner, Lu Tingxiao watched Ning Shi's abnormal performance, which he had never seen before. His deep eyes darkened a few shades. In contrast, a certain instigator sat there in a good mood, admiring Ning Shi's 12 NGs. For the whole day, her gaze had been on that Kum Mingyu. At this moment, she finally had no time to be distracted. Director Gua, our big sis Shi's time is very precious, and she's always been the female lead. This time, even if you want 2 female leads, you should at least find a decent one. You're dragging down our Shi's standards. Seeing Meng Shi's triumphant return, in order to please Meng Shi, the assistant immediately took the opportunity to criticize Ning Shi. In fact, Guqixing also had a headache. These days, not only Ning Shi, but also the others were not in good shape. Although there were no big mistakes in their acting, the quality was really far from what he had expected. Even Ning Shi, who had passed in 1 take in the last play, was like this, which really made him anxious. Ahem, Shi. Ning Shi is still considered a rookie. Her acting skills aren't too stable, so please forgive her. This time, Guqixing didn't dare to praise Ning Shi like that, so he could only try to smooth things over. Meng Shi sneered, "Since you know you're a newbie, don't be so arrogant. Who are you bragging to?" That's right. Our Shi, Golden Horse, and Golden Horse didn't even say anything. She's just a broken vase, and she's too shameless. Chapter 1424. In reality, Ning Shi had never said how good her acting skills were. Her acting skills were all passed down by word of mouth by the crew members she had worked with. Now that they said it, it seemed like she was bragging all the time, causing the rest of the crew to follow suit and point fingers at Ning Shi. Their words were harsh. I heard my friends praise Ning Shi's acting skills, and I thought she was a capable actress. I didn't expect her to rely on her face to make a living. How disappointing. Actually, Ning Shi's acting skills are pretty good compared to those pretty faces. It's her fault that she met a real, capable actress this time. Sure enough, people are made up of comparisons. Compared to Meng Shi, the difference is immediately obvious. Hearing the words around her, Xiao Tao was about to die from anger. What? Her elder brother, Shi's acting skills had always been very good. She beat Meng Shi by a few blocks. Ning Shi, the person involved, didn't care at all. Her whole body and mind were on guard against a certain demon's next move. She really didn't have the time to pay attention to Meng Shi. And this time, Shi really wasn't in a good state, so there was nothing to say. Brother Shi, what's wrong with you recently? Are you feeling unwell? How about I talk to Sister Gigi and help you take a few days off from the crew? Xiao Tao looked worried. No need. Ning Shi waved her hand weakly. Why would she take a day off? It was just a matter of dying sooner or later. After a short disturbance, the filming finally resumed. Ning Shi flipped through the script and perked up a little. Finally, it was her sweetheart scene. Although most of Lu Tingxiao's scenes were with her, today's scene was a little special. It was with Meng Shi. Ning Shi met Meng Shi's gaze out of the corner of her eye. She couldn't help but frown and feel a little uneasy. Why did she feel like there was something wrong with the way Meng Shi looked at her just now? Ning, she shook her head, feeling that she was really too paranoid. Ku Mingyu had nothing to do with Meng Shi. Meng Shi withdrew her gaze and glanced at Ku Mingyu disdainfully. This was the man Ning Shi liked. She wanted to see what was so different about this man. 3, 2, 1. Action. The plot of the scene was that Lung Ao Shui had accidentally suffered a serious injury when he went down the mountain to train and was coincidentally seen by Yun Huang. Yun Huang's actions were ruthless, rich, and inhumane, but the male lead, Ling Xiao, was her only weakness. She knew that Lung Ao Shui was Ling Xiao's sweetheart, whom he loved to death. In the end, she secretly sent her shadow guard, Lu Yin, to rescue him. In the dense forest, Lung Ao Shui's white robe was soaked in blood. His shoulders and abdomen were full of wounds from being attacked by wild beasts. He was lying in a pool of blood, barely breathing. Even when a beauty was on the verge of death, she was still extremely beautiful. The cameraman quickly zoomed in a few shots. At this moment, a masked man in black quietly appeared in front of Lung Ao Shui like a ghost. He checked her injuries and helped her up. Lung Ao Shui looked at the person in front of her in confusion. Who are you? There was nothing wrong with the plot up to this point, but Ning Shi's eyes suddenly flashed a glimmer of light. Her gaze was like a sharp knife, shooting straight at Meng Shi. At this moment, the clothes of Lung Ao Shui, who was played by Meng Shi, were a little messy due to being torn by wild beasts, faintly revealing her beautiful curves and deep cleavage. So pure, yet so tempting. If Ning Shi wasn't wrong, when Meng Shi was acting with Ku Mingyu, she seemed to be using her chest to rub against Ku Mingyu's arm ambiguously after a ka-cha sound that sent chills down one's spine. Jiang Mai watched as Ning Shi crushed the teacup in her hand. Crushed. Oh, it seemed like someone was going to be unlucky. Chapter 14:25. The moment the teacup was broken, the tea flowed down Ning Shi's white fingers. Jiang Mai looked at Ning Shi's face and then at the teacup in her hand. His Adam's apple moved up and down, and he swallowed. Oh my God! Ning Xiaoxi was so scary at this moment. What was going on with Meng Shi? She was a movie queen. Why did she secretly hook up with Ku Mingyu, an unknown male actor? Meng Shi was obviously a veteran, and she was very sensitive to cameras. She deliberately avoided the camera, so no one noticed her little secret movement. But only from where he and Ning Shi were sitting could they see it very clearly. Meng Shi's slight movement might be unintentional in the eyes of others, but how could it be hidden from Jiang Mai, a veteran in love, and of course from Ning Shi? What's going on, Ning Xiaoxi? Hasn't Meng Shi been fawning on Yinxin? Why did she suddenly go to provoke Ku Mingyu? Jiang Mai hurriedly looked at Ning Shi's hand and was relieved to see that she was not injured. Speaking of this, Jiang Mai seemed to suddenly think of something. His eyes widened, and he said, "Oh my God, did Meng Shi find out that your relationship with Ku Mingyu is unusual? She saw Yunxin's special attitude towards you, so she deliberately hooked up with your man to get back at you?" He really admired Meng Shi's courage. Jiang Mai had been analyzing excitedly, while Ning Shi dealt with the broken pieces without saying a word. She slowly wiped the tea on her hand with a tissue, and there was no expression on her face. However, in Jiang Mai's eyes, Ning Shi was extremely frightening, and his back was full of coldness. Cut. Very good. That's enough, Guo Qixing shouted. When it was over, Meng Shi cast an ambiguous look at Ku Mingyu. Any normal man could understand that it was a hint from a woman to a man. After that, Meng Shi finally calmed down a little. She walked to the recliner and sat down refreshingly. Well, with her status in the entertainment circle, she was much higher than Ning Shi. A man who relied on women to get to the top naturally knew how to choose. What's the next scene? Meng Shi asked casually. The scene with Ning Shi, the little assistant said in a gloating tone. Meng Shi also smiled. To be able to teach that vixen another lesson, she naturally wouldn't mind. Today, she was going to make her cry and leave the set. All right, let's start the next round. Ning Shi, get ready. The director's voice rang out. Before they started, Guo Qixing talked to Ning Shi for a long time to help her calm down. Ning Shi took an apologetic look at Guo Qixing. Director Guo, I'm sorry. Due to some personal reasons, I've caused you trouble these days. Hey, it's okay. It's normal to be in a bad state occasionally. Don't feel pressured because of this. Take it slow. Guo Qixing comforted. Ning Shi nodded. Director Guo, don't worry. I will make this film more popular than you can imagine. With that, Ning Shi turned around and walked straight to the filming location. Guo Qixing stared blankly at the girl's back as she left, feeling that Ning Shi looked different just now. What she said just now was not that our movie would definitely be popular, but that I would definitely make it popular. Ah, this little girl. It was obviously such arrogant words, but Guo Qixing didn't know why he really believed it. Chapter 1426. Seeing that the next scene was about to begin, Jiang Mai hurriedly made himself a pot of tea, took out a bag of melon seeds, and entered the mode of watching the show. What he loved most was watching Ning Xiaoxi start to slaughter everyone except for him. Hey, do you want some melon seeds? Jiang Mai was in a good mood, so he greeted Imo Chinxiu warmly. Imo Chinxiu looked at Jiang Mai faintly. Because he hadn't made any progress these days, he finally couldn't help but ask, You and Tang? Ning Shi, are you dating? Cough, cough, cough. Hearing this, Jiang Mai almost choked on his tea. How is that possible? If it's not you, then who is it? Imo Chinxiu looked like his soul had left his body. Imo Chinxiu was the first to be in a bad mood. Jiang Mai crossed his legs and ate some melon seeds. He glanced at Imo Chinxiu and said, Don't think about it. That guy already has a girlfriend, and he's definitely not someone you can beat. You like her, Imo Chinxiu said in a certain tone. Jiang Mai choked again, and his face turned red. He rolled his eyes and said, It's none of your business. Imo Chinxiu couldn't help but fall in a deep thought. Who could make Jiang Mai so afraid of Ning Shi that he didn't dare to do anything to her? Jiang Mai seemed to know what Imo Chinxiu was thinking. His face darkened, and he curled his lips. How could he not be afraid? That guy's seniority was enough to crush him. Everyone, get ready, start, Guo Qixing shouted. Meng Shi's assistant yawned out of boredom. She stood there with her arms crossed, looking at the time on her phone with a face full of impatience. For this film, Sister Shi turned down so many offers from big-name directors. She even turned down Hollywood roles. Who would have thought that she'd be tricked into joining this lousy team? In reality, the TV market was very popular nowadays. No matter how high Meng Shi's movie was, without the support of the masses, it would be very difficult for her to make money. If she wanted to go the high-stakes route, then she wouldn't care about money. But since she rejected so many movies and took on TV shows, it was clear that she still wanted to make money. Nine Firmaments was the most expensive IP fantasy drama in the country. The director, producer, and actors were all top-notch. There were plenty of actors and actresses who wanted to join the cast. Even international actresses were more than enough. Meng Shi had only won 2 domestic trophies. Meng Shi, the female lead, was something that their company had spent quite a bit of effort to get. But now, she was speaking in such a disdainful tone and putting on airs to this extent. No matter how good Guo Qixing's temper was, his expression couldn't help but turn a little ugly. But Guo Qixing couldn't argue with a little assistant, so he suppressed his anger and focused on the direction where Ning Shi and Meng Shi were shooting. Dusk fell, and the light in the dense forest was somewhat dim. 2 figures, one red and one white, were thrown into the air by the wires. The white figure chased after the red figure in front of him, and the 2 figures moved quickly. Swoosh! The cloud phoenix's skirt fluttered in the air like raging flames. Her arms spread out like an eagle's, and the tips of her feet brushed the ground as she abruptly stopped in front of her. Lung Ao Shui, who was in hot pursuit, also landed on the ground. He aimed a silver arrow at the woman in front of him. Demonis! Stop right there! Today, I will enforce justice on behalf of the heavens. Meng Shi's eyes were filled with fierce anger and just the right amount of compassion. Lung Ao Shui, who was cold to the extreme, but also merciful to the extreme, was vividly portrayed. Chapter 1427. The plot of this scene was that Yun Huang's personal shadow guard, Lu Yin, was injured by the righteous sect. Because of this, Yun Huang went on a killing spree, causing the righteous sect to bleed like a river. Lung Ao Shui was enraged and wanted to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens. Throughout this scene, Lung Ao Shui was in the leading position, which was especially suitable to suppress the scene. As long as she used it a little bit, Ning Shi would definitely lose even more face. Under Meng Shi's hidden and ambiguous gaze, the woman in red seemed to not notice Lung Ao Shui's monstrous anger and murderous intent. She leisurely stood there, stretched out her voice, and said with a faint smile, "I wonder what path Fairy Ao Shui walks." Lung Ao Shui's beautiful eyes turned frosty, and her gaze became even more fierce. "Which, you still dare to quibble? In one night, you killed all 107 people from the Seven Stars sect. Such a killing spree is hard to absolve your sin. The heavens cannot tolerate it." Heh! Yun Huang lowered her eyes and let out a low laugh from her chest. A moment later, her crow, feather-like eyelashes slightly opened, and her gloomy eyes looked at Lung Ao Shui. Her fingers gently brushed the blood on her cheek, and her hair fluttered along with the strong wind. Her whole person was like a ghost. I've said it before, if anyone dares to touch a single hair on his head, I will take his head. If anyone dares to hurt him, I will slaughter his whole family. Seeing this, Guiqixing's eyes suddenly lit up, and his heart trembled with excitement. This girl really came back. This part of the performance was simply too amazing. Guiqixing had completely put the unhappiness in the back of his mind and excitedly looked at Meng Shi. Which, unexpectedly, at such an exciting moment, Meng Shi actually forgot her lines? Meng Shi tried to open her mouth again, but she was still stuck. She couldn't say a single word of her long and impassioned speech. She had already brewed up her emotions, and this time, she was ready to crush Ning Shi. However, unexpectedly, when she looked into Ning Shi's eyes, her brain suddenly lost control. The lines that she was about to blurt out were suddenly stuck in her throat, and she could only say one word before she could no longer say it. "Cut, do it again." Guiqixing sighed with regret. Meng Shi hadn't reacted yet when she heard Guiqixing's cut sound. Damn it, what's going on? Was she dazed just now? As for this mistake, Meng Shi treated it as a momentary lapse in concentration. Her assistant and the other staff didn't pay much attention to it either. Soon, the second shoot began. Meng Shi took a deep breath. This time, she was even fiercer than last time. She rushed towards Ning Shi with an overwhelming sense of oppression. "Demoness! How dare you quibble? If it was a small actor without a solid foundation, he would definitely not perform well under such pressure. He might not even be able to say his lines. However, I've said it before, if anyone dares to touch a single hair on his head, I'll take his head. If anyone dares to hurt him, I'll slaughter his entire family." Facing Meng Shi, who was using nearly all of her acting skills to deliberately pressure her, Ning Shi's attitude became even more relaxed. Her demeanor made it seem like the treasonous words she was saying were the right, the way of the heavens. At this moment, the red-robed woman before him was extremely arrogant. Even the heavenly Tao was trampled under her feet. This was a cloud phoenix. Chapter 1428. Guiqixing didn't think that Ning Shi's interpretation of the character would be even better this time. He couldn't contain his excitement. "Wuxia." However, Meng Shi miserably failed again. From Ning Shi's demeanor to her lines, it was clear that she didn't have any strength. But for some reason, in front of her, Meng Shi felt like there was an insurmountable mountain in front of her, making her unable to move. Damn it, what was wrong with her? Why couldn't she say her lines? If the first time was a coincidence, then this time, she felt that things weren't that simple. Meng Shi's face was ashen. She furrowed her brows and looked at Ning Shi. The latter took the water from the assistant and raised it at her from afar, revealing a smile that sent chills down her spine. Sister Shi, what's wrong? Are you too tired? It's all that broken vase's fault. You kept failing. You wasted so much energy. The assistant hurriedly rushed to Meng Shi's side to smooth things over. Hearing the assistant's help, Meng Shi's face finally relaxed a little. Not far away, Jiang Mai crunched his melon seeds like a squirrel. Looking in Meng Shi's direction, a trace of a sneer flashed across his eyes. Heh, you can't take it anymore? This is just the beginning. Soon, the third shoot began. Meng Shi looked over the script she had memorized long ago. After confirming that there would be no mistakes this time, she started again. Because she was prepared this time, Meng Shi didn't dare to be careless. For the first time since entering the cast, she brought out her full strength and was even forced to perform exceptionally. The moment she said the last line, her imposing aura infected the surrounding staff and artists, so much so that they didn't dare to breathe loudly. The cameraman nervously and excitedly gave Meng Shi a close-up shot. The wind grew stronger. Yun Huang was like a phoenix burning in a raging fire. His long and narrow eyes were full of contempt and mockery for those who talked about benevolence, righteousness, and morality. He trampled on all the rules of the world and looked down on all living things with disdain. His gaze swept over Meng Shi as if he was looking at an ant. Then, he continued to recite that treasonous line. This time, Meng Shi stood rooted to the ground in a daze. She couldn't even say the word which. All the onlookers, whether it was the staff or the artists, were captivated by Ning Shi's extremely enchanting look. It was clearly such treasonous words, yet it caused the hearts of everyone to surge, and they were captivated and immersed in the arrogance and impudence of the person before them. After a long time, everyone came back to their senses from the atmosphere created by Ning Shi. When everyone came back to their senses, their first reaction was that this was too unbelievable. Did Ning Shi bring everyone into the play just now? After that, everyone's reaction was, Meng Shi NG again. She had just been talking about Ning Shi, but now she had also failed 3 times. In their hearts, Ning Shi was an idol who relied on her looks, so it was normal for her to take an NG. However, when it came to Meng Shi, who had always crushed Ning Shi and had always presented herself as a powerful movie queen, it was a little surprising. This time, Meng Shi's expression was extremely ugly. Big sis Shi, look at how you've been dragged down by that vase. Hurry and get some rest. The little assistant nagged, still blaming Ning Shi. However, after witnessing Ning Shi's acting, everyone clearly couldn't agree with the little assistant's excuse. How was this tired? It was clearly more like she was so shocked by Ning Shi's acting that she forgot to say her lines. You're tuning into the Eternal Immortal Ballad YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.